much is on the line for the future of Don Coryell, the most prolific offensive coach in the history of the NFL over the past few years. But this could also be a third losing season. We'll be back with the action. From San Diego, California, this is Frank Gifford along with O.J. Simpson and Joe Namath. This ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you. Chuck Noll of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They had to win 3 of 4 a year ago to get into the playoffs. They did just that, and they went all the way to the AFC Championship game. The task is even tougher this year for Chuck Noll. They feel they must win all 3 of their games, while the Cleveland Browns lose 2 and Cincinnati loses 1. We'll talk more about the playoff picture, but for the Pittsburgh Steelers, all they care about at the moment is winning tonight against San Diego. And as we look down on the field, the Steelers will be receiving. Bob Thomas will put it in play for the San Diego Chargers. Louis Lips is back, a dangerous wide receiver, punt return man for the Steelers. An outstanding young football player out of Southern Mississippi is back there with Todd Spencer. Lips is number 83, Todd Spencer number 36. Rick Arenberg, a fine all-around, all-purpose back for the Steelers, unavailable tonight. So Louis Lips is back to receive the kickoff along with Spencer for the Steelers. Underway. Not a good kick by Thomas. Short hop. And now they just fall on it and cover it. Louis Lips covers it at the 7-yard line. It was mishandled up at the 20-yard line. And so young David Woodley, the former Miami Dolphin, the start in the Super Bowl, back after the 82 season, comes into the lineup. This is Woodley's 5th start following an injury earlier to Mark Malone. He won 3 of his starts consecutively before his loss to Denver of a week ago. On the season, 47.3%, 3 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and 4 of those 12 interceptions by Woodley have been returned for touchdowns. First down, Frank Pollard over the left side, and Pollard bangs it out close to the 17-yard line. The Steelers are a running football team, and the Chargers, while they have the best offense in the entire National Football League thus far in the season, they also have the weakest defense, rated, of course, by yardage given up. A very young team. This Charger football team has had 63 active players this year as they have struggled mostly on defense. They have great talent on offense. Defensively, that is not the case. 3rd down and 4. 2nd down and 4, rather. Walter Abercrombie hit behind the line of scrimmage. Lyndon King in there quickly.
Well, I know, Frank, the Steelers are going to try and run the ball because they'd love to be able to keep it away from Dan Fouts and that high-powered passing offense, but now they find themselves in a passing situation right now. And, of course, you mentioned Woodley. He hasn't been consistent, and that's because he hasn't been playing a lot. He hasn't found the rhythm yet.
All right, John Stallworth and Louis Lips are the wide receivers. Weegie Thompson, he's the big one, number 87, he comes in. The Steelers tight ends, well, they do not play much of a role in the offense for the Steelers. Woodley, 3rd and 5, a lot of pressure. He gets away from Williams, rolls right and taken from behind and dropped. Running him down was Fred Robinson. And it was Lee Williams chasing Woodley out of the pocket, and it was Robinson running him down. Lyndon King is also there.
I know Woodley would have liked to have found the receiver here, but there simply wasn't one available right now, and he got roughed up a little bit. David got up limping as he was leaving the field, and we might see Scott Campbell later on tonight.
Young man will be watching all night long because he is looking for a record. That was, I believe, partially blocked. If it wasn't, it was hurried off the foot of Newsome. Short kick. Somebody might have got a hand on it. I think Gary Nelson might have got a hand on it. And Newsome gets a short kick out just over the 25-yard line. Watch number 55, Gary Nelson. Coming in from the outside. Yes, he was there and got a hand on it. So the San Diego Chargers have a 1st down and 10. They're inside the 29-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we're just underway from San Diego. Dan Fouts brings up the Chargers. Passing just under 60% on the season, 24 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. He missed a couple of games and part of 2 more with injuries. Just does get it off, and he gets it off complete. Firing underneath, he goes to the veteran Charlie Joyner. That's his 704th career reception as he continues to set reception history here in the National Football League. And that will be close to a first down. Yes, it is. Joyner gets the first down on Fouts' very first attempt. Pair of tight ends now for the San Diego Chargers as Kellen Winslow and Eric Sievers are both in the lineup. Lionel James with 2,051 all-purpose yards, chasing the record set by Terry Metcalf back in 1975. Bounces back again. A lot of time in and out of the end zone attempted there to Joyner.
That's good team defense. Good team defense. Talking with Coach Croyle today, and he kept talking about how well coordinated his Pittsburgh team was, and he attributes to the coaching of Tony Dungy.
Referee tonight is Jerry Seaman, and the penalty indicated against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, the Steelers are going to have a tough assignment tonight. They're playing against a team that should be loose. They have nothing to lose. They have enough players on their offense.
Illegal use of hands to the face, number 53, defense, first down.
They have enough players on their offense that guys who are looking towards individual accomplishments this year. They're near the top in some statistics. Defensively, they got a young football team, so they're going to gamble and they're going to go all out. I would hate to have to play a team like this trying to make it to the playoffs.
The first down, the penalty against Henko and Spencer. Head up around the 7-yard line. Yes, he gets into the end zone. Tim Spencer hit first near the line of scrimmage, broke a tackle, carried a couple of Steelers all the way into the end zone. And the former USFL All-Star, running from the fullback position, he gets hit early.
Well, there's nothing fancy about this. It looks like what we would call a 5-drive, a straight-ahead run, and Spencer, he just wants it. He's running as if they're trying to make the playoffs.
He ran right through Donnie Shell and Eric Williams for the touchdown. San Diego with a block punt. And now a good effort by Spencer takes the early lead. Thomas putting the upright. San Diego leads the Pittsburgh Steelers in a game that is so important to these Steelers. They lead 7-0, and we'll be back in San Diego in just a moment. A game that is so important to the Steelers. We already have a couple of errors in the early going. On the opening kickoff, Bob Thomas hit it. It was mishandled, a short kick by Dennis Winston, and then Louis Lips couldn't find the handle, and finally they had to settle for the football down around the 7-yard line. And then on that very series, when they were unable to pick up the first down, Harry Newsom had a punt blocked, and San Diego capitalized immediately upon that. Set to go again. Thomas to kick off, and Spencer and Louis Lips are deep once again for the Steelers. And here comes Spencer. Flag is down.
Don Spencer takes the kickoff at the goal line.
Ojenko handling the kickoff chores for the San Diego Chargers tonight. Holding once again. The Steelers are having all kinds of problems in the early going. Let's take a look at the scores around the league. The Jets staying right there with New England and Miami. And New England winning, of course, over Detroit. And Miami and Green Bay. Those three, of course, in the AFC Eastern Division. And Denver over the Raiders. Seattle over Cleveland. And Cincinnati rolling big over Dallas. The Giants winning again. And Washington coming back to defeat Philadelphia. Chicago over Indianapolis. Minnesota winning big over Tampa Bay. And St. Louis over New Orleans. Kansas City over Atlanta. Holding against Fred Small of the Pittsburgh Steelers. First down and 10. The Steelers at the 21-yard line. And we'll have highlights from these games earlier today that meant so much at halftime. Whitney gets the screen off, and it goes to Pollard. Well set up screen, and Pollard gets out over the 35-yard line, up close to the 40-yard line, before he's taken out of bounds by Mike Green. Well set up screen.
Ray Penney, the left offensive tackle, did a heck of a job of throwing a block out there. The screen set up beautifully. You wonder why it works. Pittsburgh hasn't been successful passing yet. Why would a screen pass work? But San Diego's defense certainly isn't one of the best in the league. Nice block by Penney.
Pollard up to the 39-yard line. right side and pounds his way up close to the 45-yard line. A gain of 5 on that. It'll be second down and 5 up into there by Woody Lowe. The San Diego defense, 28th and last thus far in the season after 13 games. 17th against the rush, 28th against the pass. But they have a lot of youngsters playing out of position. They've run a lot of football players through their roster this season, 63 to be exact. Second down and 5, Pollard. This is what the Steelers like to do. They like to control the game. They like to move the ball on the ground with the big backs, Pollard and Abercrombie. Well, when you're short of the first down.
Well, when you play against San Diego, there's two schools of thought. One is to run the ball, control the ball, and keep their high-powered offense off the field, and the other one is to try to outscore them. When you consider they've lost 2 games this year, they scored 35 points in, I would think you would have to try to outscore San Diego.
Third down and 1. The first down, just slipping through over the left side, gets inside San Diego territory near the 49-yard line for the first down. And Don Coryell, and I mentioned earlier, came here in '78 to finish out the season. The first 3 years that he was here, the Chargers won the Western Division of the AFC. Since then, however, they have not fared so well. They have not won a division, and they have had 2 losing seasons, and this is the 3rd year that they have not made it to the playoffs. He's under fire. No question about that. On first and 10, Woodley. Cunningham, the big tight end, and Cunningham down to the 37-yard line. The tight ends coming into tonight for the Pittsburgh Steelers had 5 receptions in 13 games. Cunningham, that was his 4th reception.
You know, I can't help but believe that the emotional side of this game is, well, you have to favor Pittsburgh. They're in the hunt for the playoffs. San Diego, they're playing loose, but, they have to have a lack of concentration. Heck, they're playing out their schedule. I got to give an edge to Pittsburgh. I think they're going to bone up here.
The 36-yard line, this is Abercrombie on first down, and he's headed as he tries to turn it upfield. Woody Lowe, outstanding linebacker here for the San Diego Chargers for a decade now. Ended tonight, 4 sacks from that outside position, 3 interceptions. He's always around the football. He's the kind of player that you hear the cliche all the time. He makes things happen, and he does.
Yeah, Joe, I sort of disagree in one sense. Is that San Diego, you're looking at a team with so many great individuals, guys like Joyner and Wes Chandler and, of course, Lionel James. These guys, statistically, they're at the top of the list, and they want to impress. They want to be at the top.
Well, maybe that's their problem. It is a football team. It's a team game.
Second down and 9. Woodley dumps it off to Pollard. Like a wide handoff, and Pollard slips as he tries to turn upfield at the 35-yard line. Squeezes out a couple. It'll be third down and 7 for David Woodley.
Unfortunately for the Chargers, Joyner, Lionel James, and Wes Chandler, of course, Dan Fouts, cannot play defense.
Alex Spanos, the new owner, as of last year, August 1st, 1984, has openly said that he will evaluate this football team and head coach Don Coryell when the season is over. If he evaluates it on the offense, Coryell is on the head of the class. If he evaluates it on defense, forget it. Third down and 7. Woodley has a man open. Did he trap it? No. John Hendy was trying to cover John Stallworth, and Stallworth makes a fine catch at the 20-yard line. Stallworth playing with a very sore calf. He had to leave last week's game against Denver. Not having the great year that he had last year, but he now has 64 receptions. We're going to look at it from the reverse angle, and you're going to see what we couldn't see with the camera on the other side of the field. Stallworth making a good, clean, sliding catch and giving the Steelers a first down near the 20-yard line of San Diego. Abercrombie breaks one tackle and just lunges down close to the 15-yard line. That'll be a gain of 5, and it'll bring up a second down and 5. Dan Fouts, over the past couple of years, multiple injuries. They don't do too well with him out of the lineup. No, they don't.
That's the second time the Steelers have pulled their guard, Emil Boris, and he just blocked Lyndon King twice now. Lyndon has to have a headache already. Beautiful trap block.
Over the past couple of years, the Chargers have lost 8 of the 11 games Fouts has missed while he's been injured. He really is their offense, the heart and soul of it. 2nd and 5, a little play action. Wide open is Abercrombie. The blitz was on. Somebody should have probably pulled out of it and picked up Abercrombie, but he was wide open.
It was quite an ingenious play. They had Lewis Lips in motion as if Lewis Lips was going to run a reverse. And I think the safeties followed Lewis Lips. You saw him go across your screen left to right. Consequently, Walter is all by himself.
And Woody Lowe was taking a long look into that backfield. He was the linebacker on that side. Most certainly would have had the underneath coverage on Abercrombie, but he wasn't there. So the Steelers come back, put their 6 on the scoreboard, and Gary Anderson ties it up. We're tied at 7. We'll be back in San Diego in just a moment. Walter Abercrombie, a first-round pick in '82. A lot of injuries for the first couple of years. Has really been a productive back over the past couple of years. That was his 17th reception of the season, his first touchdown reception. He is just under 700 yards rushing. Gary Anderson to kick off. Steelers have not been effective on their kickoff unit. They are trying to do something about it. They've given up nearly 27 yards of return. Ball taken by San Diego at the 21-yard line. And Tippers flare down on the field. It was Eric Sievers who fielded that ball for San Diego. So San Diego, tied with the Steelers in the early going, will have the 1st and 10 at the 22-yard line. Saturday, ABC's Wide World of Sports returns with exciting boxing action as America's hottest up-and-coming fighters go toe-to-toe at the U.S. Amateur Boxing Championships. This event will be seen live, except on the West Coast, at 4:30 Eastern and Pacific, 3:30 Central Time on ABC's Wide World of Sports. San Diego starting this drive at their own 22-yard line. Spencer piled up over the right side. This defensive unit of the Steelers, after 13 games, rated number 1 in the ASC. Second against the rush. They were first against the pass. They are a much more conservative defense than they were a year ago. This has prompted a little grumbling in the Steel City, where the Steelers have lost their last 2 games at Three River Stadium. They don't usually do that. Fouts is back. 2nd and 10. Wide open is Joyner. And Joyner, getting a little long in the tooth, still was able to make the good move and not only gets the first down, but moves the football out close to the 47-yard line.
And this is a perfect example why the Steelers haven't been blitzing. Rick Woods, the cornerback, is playing, well, he's playing corner. He's normally a free safety, and the Steelers have had to play zone defenses. So Joyner found a huge hole on the left side of that zone defense, to the right side, defensive side, and is wide open.
The game's all-time leading receiver. More impressive, Joyner has played in 178 consecutive football games. 17th year for Joyner. On first down, the little train, Lionel James, into Steeler territory near the 47 on a gain of 5. It'll be 2nd down and 5, hit there by Brian Hinkle and Rick Woods of the Steelers.
They get Frank, you know, Rick Woods is normally a free safety. Harvey Clayton started every game there this season, but he has a bad ankle, couldn't start last week. So the Steelers have got to protect Rick Woods, and they do it with his own defense.
Clayton tried to go tonight, injured the ankle, re-injured the ankle, and Rick Woods, who has worked more at safety than he has at corner, is in there at right cornerback now for the Steelers. 2nd down and 5, and Fouts is back. Dumps it underneath. Lionel James once again taken there by one of the fine linebackers in all of football, Mike Merriweather, and held short of the first down by about 2 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 2.
You might wonder what the big problem is with the Steelers. You say they have some weaknesses in their secondary, Joe, but they're number 1 in the AFC in defense. Well, when you play conservative defense, you don't come up with the big defensive plays. Last year, a guy like Mike Merriweather, when they blitzed a lot, had 15 sacks. He only has 4 sacks this year. It takes those big defensive plays that spells victory.
3rd down and 2. Lionel James, and he'll have the first down inside the 40-yard line to the 39-yard line, hit there by Donnie Shell. First down, San Diego. And just to elaborate a little further on what you mentioned, O.J., the Steelers have not had a sack, period, in their last 2 games. And they lost to Denver, at home, and they lost to Washington at home.
Chargers with a first down.
That's a little aggravating to
39.
Steeler fans. They like their rough, tough football played that way. But Chuck Noll has decided to go the conservative route to avoid giving up a big play. And who's the question? The man who has won 4 Super Bowls. On first down, this is Spencer. Spencer picks up 2. Gary Dunn will be at the bottom of that. It'll be second down and 8.
By number 93, Keith Willis.
Spencer was the 3rd leading rusher in the USFL over the past few years. Had over 3,100 yards. He played for Chicago, Arizona, and Memphis. It was the Chargers' 11th round draft pick in '83. That was after he had already signed with Chicago. Second and 8. That's James in motion. Good receiver, even on the outside. South likes to go deep to him, but now he looks to Chandler. And Chandler wide open. He got behind Woods, and Woods was jawing at Donnie Shell as if he thought Shell should have been back there covering for him. But in any event, Chandler was wide open. He runs right by number 22, that's Woods. And Woods started yelling to Donnie Shell after the play as though he expected Shell, the free safety, to be there to cover for him. Easy one, a gift, if you will, for the Chargers. Wes Chandler, his 52nd reception of the season, his 8th touchdown. We may have a pinball game tonight. We could have a lot of points put on the scoreboard. Bob Thomas with the conversion. 2:45 remaining here in the first quarter, and the San Diego Chargers have the lead once again, 14-7. Noah was going on and on today to me about all the offensive weapons of the Chargers, and he said, and that guy number 89. That guy number 89 is Wes Chandler, and he has just put the Chargers ahead once again. Ralph Moshenko, who kicked off the last time. Bob Thomas opened the game, but Moshenko has been used now for the second time. Louis Lipton deep with Todd Spencer. This will be Spencer. Spencer thought he saw a little something, a little gap at the 25, put his nose in it, and paid for it. And here comes the Steelers offense. Both quarterbacks thus far are perfect. Fouts is 4 for 4. Woodley is 5 for 5. They have a lot of points on that scoreboard tonight in a game in which the Steelers feel they desperately have to win. They feel coming into tonight they have to win all 3 of their games. They'll have to get a couple of losses from the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland lost today to Seattle, and they need 1 loss by Cincinnati, a team that beat the Steelers twice. On first and 10, Woodley is back. He's out of the pocket, and he fires it and gets it down to Abercrombie. And if that was a completion, and the Chargers could get the ball back. Yes, they ruled out a completion to Abercrombie. And Chuck Ian is at the bottom of the pile. Abercrombie had the football. He was pounded, stopped it up, and San Diego gets another big turnover. Let's watch it from the reverse angle. You'll see it a little better as we use the camera from across the field. Again, Willie chased out of the pocket and really hit there. It was Bird provided the hit, and then it was Hendy who made the recovery. First down and 10, San Diego. Fouts, he wants it fast. Underthrows Lionel James. James ended tonight, I mentioned, has 2,051 all-purpose yards, chasing Terry Metcalf's record set in 1975 when he was the St. Louis Cardinals, playing under Don Coryell. Metcalf had 2,462 yards in 75, and ended tonight, Lionel James had 445 yards rushing, 915 pass receiving. He had returned kickoffs for 506 yards and punts for 185 yards. What an offensive machine is this 5'6" Lionel James as he hammers down close to the 20-yard line. He'll get 3 out of that. It'll be 3rd down and 7. He stopped by Mike Merriweather.
You know, 5'6", and Lionel says he has an advantage being short. He says when it comes to blocking and running the football, being so short, he can get better leverage on the defensive players. He can get up underneath their pads and go forward. He has a point there with that leverage, but I'd still rather be a little bit bigger than 5'6" out on this football
Well,
field.
his head is forearm high. You would think the kid would get a lot of headaches, but he seems to avoid it.
3rd and 7. The Steelers are showing a blitz. Fouts reads that better than most. And he did it again. Holohan, you will not unnerve Dan Fouts. He stood right in the crowd, waited until his tight end, Holohan, uncovered. Single coverage, and Holohan was wide open. They missed Kellen Winslow when he was in his prime before the knee injury, but Severs and Holohan are extra special tight ends themselves.
And Holohan has one-on-one coverage with who? Rick Woods right here. Rick's having a rough night.
They're doing a surgical job on Rick Woods with Harvey Clayton out of the lineup. San Diego banging on the scoreboard here in the first quarter. Thomas for the conversion. The Chargers have put up 21 points. We have 1:35 remaining in the first quarter. Pete Holohan out of Notre Dame, a touchdown reception. We'll kick off once again for San Diego. Louis Lips is back there with Todd Spencer. Steelers now have given up 42 points in the last 2 quarters of play. They gave up 21 points to Denver in the 4th quarter of their game a week ago. That one played at Three River Stadium. Louis Lips. And Louis Lips makes a nice move to the outside. He gets to the 29-yard line where it'll be first down and 10. And we know you're watching a lot of football. If you were looking around the National Football League today, we'll try and stay with us. Just put some toothpicks in your eyelids. Just keep in mind that we hope you're enjoying tonight. Tomorrow night, we'll be up in San Francisco for a critical game for not only the 49ers, but the Los Angeles Rams. They opened the season with 7 straight. All of a sudden, they were defeated by the 49ers. And now if the 49ers can win tomorrow night, win the rest of their games, they have won the Western Division of the NFC. But they're going to have to get by the Rams, who have been struggling over the past few weeks. And we'll bring you that action tomorrow night. First down and 10, the Steelers. Down now by 14 here in the first quarter. Abercrombie breaks wide open and gets up close to a first down. I think he'll have it near the 40-yard line. Big opening over the right side.
They've run that play 3 times now. They're pulling left guard, Emil Boris, and he is hitting Lyndon King and trapping him beautifully.
Well, Pittsburgh has always been one of your better trapping and counter teams. Over the years, they've done it from that fullback position with Franco doing that counter step, and they're trapped probably more than any team in football. They'll trap ends and tackles.
First and 10. Steelers just inside their own 40-yard line. Abercrombie on the move, and a draw play to Pollard. Pollard hit right at the line of scrimmage. They might give him a yard and a half on that. Bottom of that pile is Mike Green.
As you were saying, Joe, that was a draw play, and it was a draw off a trap block by Boris.
I wonder how long Pittsburgh's going to stay with their basic game plan. If the Chargers keep scoring points at this rate, Pittsburgh's going to have to throw the ball an awful lot to stay in the game.
Second down and 8. David Woodley now making his 5th start in relief of Mark Malone, who has a partially dislocated toe. Hands off to Abercrombie, and Abercrombie held short of the first down out there, the 46-yard line. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 3, and we are going to run out of time here in the first quarter.
22, Gilbert.
San Diego has made the most of opportunities tonight. After one, they lead 21-7 over the Steelers. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, in a game that they feel they must win, have a 3rd down and 3, the ball at their own 46-yard line. David Woodley for Mark Malone at quarterback. The big man, Pollard, crumbles for a first down into San Diego territory near the 48-yard line, up into there by Gil Bird. First quarter stats. Keep in mind there was a blocked punt that set up the first San Diego touchdown, and then there was a fumble to set up the second. And the Chargers have 21 on the scoreboard. Fouts hit Chandler, for a 36-yard touchdown after Spencer got a 12-yard touchdown, and it was Fouts to Holohan from 21 yards out. Woodley kicks off and goes back to Abercrombie. He wanted to go deep. He wanted to go to Stallworth. Stallworth well covered, and Ian put the pressure on David Woodley. He dumped it off to Abercrombie. And bring up second down and 10. Woodley came to the Steelers before last season from Miami after a youngster named Dan Marino made him a little expendable down there. Steelers gave up a third-round draft pick. He'd been a 2-year starter before Dan Marino arrived in Miami. He was 24-12 as a starter for Miami. Second and 10, Lips in motion. This is Abercrombie. Looking for something outside. Not much there. He gets a yard and a half. It'll be third and long for David Woodley.
I guess what Chuck Knox feel, if they can score on one drive, Chuck Noll, excuse me, that it would be 21-14, but they're playing against a team that is rated last versus the pass in all of football. They're down by 14 points. I think I'd think about throwing the ball a little more.
It's been since 1971 that Chuck Noll has had a team at this point of the season under 500. That was his third year with the Steelers. 3rd and 7. Woodley trying to get deep to Sweeney, who had a big game against Denver in a losing effort a week ago when John Stallworth had to go out of that game. But this time Woodley overthrows to the outside. Calvin Sweeney was well covered.
He had good pressure on him that time. Woodley did, by the way. Tony Simmons got back there along with Earl Wilson. Good defensive pressure.
I'm sure the Steelers special teams unit has been talking over that block punt as Harry Newsom comes out. And Lionel James, he's a threat to take it all the way from any part of the field. Oh, boy. Whoa! And Newsom made a great effort to get that ball off. And Newsom was under tremendous pressure. The snap was by Randy Rasmussen, and it was high. Newsom went up and got it, and he made a tremendous effort to get to it.
He's wondering why he didn't have a penalty called here, but he muffed the ball a little bit. Anytime a punter bobbles the ball, it's called a muff, and the defenders are allowed to run into him.
Chargers have it back, and that means trouble for the Steeler defense. But as far as the playoff picture is concerned, but they are a very entertaining football team to watch, particularly because of this man. In his 8 starts, Dan Fouts has thrown for more than 300 yards this season. He leads the NFL in 300-yard games. He has 46 of those, including 6 400-yard passing games. First down and 10. San Diego at their own 27-yard line. Gary Anderson. And the former All-American from Arkansas and outstanding running back for Tampa of the USFL gets about 4 yards to bring up the second down and 6. Drew DeRosa, our 50-yard line cameraman, is suffering with the flu tonight. We hope he's coming along fine. We miss him. And by the way, for those of you fans who watched the Oklahoma SMU game here on ABC yesterday, you know that Keith Jackson, our fine award-winning announcer, great announcer, I might say, had to leave that game at halftime. He too with the flu, and we understand. We have spoken with people close to both of them, and they are just fine. We miss them. Second down and 6. Bounces back a lot of times. That's Spencer over the middle. Fouts wanted to get a big one out of that. He was getting great protection from a line that is really patchwork, and they are. Dennis McKnight has moved from guard out to replace Sam Clapham at right tackle, and Jim Leonard, somebody we had not heard of until we got here tonight, is in at right guard. And they are protecting Dan Fouts extraordinarily well. Look at this time. You give that kind of time to Dan Fouts, he'll take the fillings out of your teeth. And a good catch by Spencer. First down, 41-yard line of San Diego. Anderson again. Flag is down, as you can see, as Anderson gets a couple. Anderson came late to San Diego. Was not able to sign until well into the season. He has been a little slow picking up the offense. Gary Seaman tells us it's holding against San Diego. I mentioned the Chargers are entertaining. We hope you're enjoying the telecast tonight. We look forward to bringing you the Ram 49er game tomorrow night. We'd like to thank the 70 million of you. I'll finish that in a moment.
Holding, number 60, offense, still first down.
That's Dennis McKnight playing out of position at right tackle. Detected holding, but the estimated 70 million that watched the Chicago Bear-Miami game of a week ago. We enjoyed it. We're glad you enjoyed it. And we have some great games coming up in the final 2 weeks of the season. We'll tell you about them a little later. First down and 20. Ball inside the Chargers' 31-yard line. Lionel James twists and turns and gets up to the 34-yard line. Gain of 3. It'll be second down and 17. And let's take a look at that schedule. Tomorrow night, of course, the Rams and the 49ers in that annual meeting, and they've been going at it ever since the old merger, going all the way back to the All-American Football Conference. And the rest of them, the Patriots and the Dolphins, they are tied with the Jets at 10-4 in the AFC East. All of these games will have a major bearing on the playoff picture, either for themselves or somebody else. Second and 17, and Fouts fires a shot and picked off by Dwayne Woodruff. Woodruff takes it back inside the 40-yard line of San Diego before Charlie Joyner makes the stop.
Well, Frank, Darrell Sims may have been responsible for that interception. He got a good pass rush on Fouts. He was behind him, and he sort of hit him at the back of his leg, and I think Fouts thought he was going to get hit any minute. Now watch on the left side of your screen, pick number 99. Sort of rushed him on that pass.
That was just an ill-advised throw. He threw into double coverage. Donnie Shell, Dwayne Woodruff had doubled up on Gary Anderson. And you won't see Fouts put it into that kind of situation very often. First down and 10. Steelers down 21-7. Have the football at the 38-yard line of San Diego. Whitley, Stallworth is wide open, and the veteran shows you some extraordinary skill there near the 25-yard line as he has a Steeler first down. Leading receiver for the Steelers into tonight with 63. He's caught a pair tonight, so he's up to 65. He's had 4 touchdown receptions. But last year, what a great comeback effort. He just was remarkable a year ago with 80 receptions as he went to the Pro Bowl with nearly 1,400 yards and 11 touchdowns. First down, Steelers. Draw play. Big opening for Abercrombie, and he just barrels down to the 15-yard line for another Steeler first down. And there is the man who set this drive in motion, Dwayne Woodruff. Picked off that down-south pass.
Yeah, you know what? I can't help but wonder what was Dan looking at when he threw the ball. There were 2 defenders there. Why does a quarterback of his stature throw the ball into double coverage, you know?
Well, any quarterback can get a little nervous, and they were,
I beg your
first time
pardon.
tonight, they were putting a little pressure on him.
Oh.
Inside the 15-yard line, the Steelers. Whitley is back again. Trying to get it into the end zone. Hinder there for the tight end, Vinnie Cunningham. David Whitley is calling his own plays, and we're going to go back and we'll look at the double coverage against Gary Anderson. When Gary Anderson came to the Chargers, you can see underneath is Woodruff, and you'll see Donnie Shell, number 31. And Dan Fouts hit the only open man in the area. Second down and 10. Abercrombie, another big opening, and Abercrombie down to the 7-yard line. Pops for about 6. Earl Wilson made the stop. Started to say David Whitley calls his own plays. Steelers one of the few teams that allow that. What do you think about that, Joe?
I like the idea as a quarterback, but I see they just sent the play in from the sideline in Calvin Sweeney. I asked Chuck Noll about that today, and if that could possibly be the reason for Pittsburgh's low passing percentage. He didn't think so, and he likes his quarterbacks calling the plays.
He smiled also and said he does not have a lot of flexibility. Third down and a long 3. Louis Lips, I believe. He was underneath in that very unusual formation. Yes, it is. And Whitley put it on the numbers. 11th touchdown reception for this remarkable young football player from Southern Mississippi. His 53rd reception of the season. He's averaging just under 20 yards. Dangerous return man. Number 1 draft pick of a year ago. He got everyone's attention in his very first game, did Louis Lipps, a year ago, when he went for 183 yards on 6 receptions and 2 touchdowns. Gary Anderson brings the Steelers to within 7. There's Louis Lipps out of Southern Mississippi. Pro Bowl as a rookie. Scored on punt return. He scored from scrimmage. He scored on pass receptions a year ago. And he just keeps getting better. Out of a very unusual formation, he was wide open, and you were so right, Joe. David Woodley was right on the numbers with that pass. Back at Jack Murphy Stadium, the Steelers have drawn to within 7 on Louis Lipps' 11th touchdown reception of the season. He has 2 on punt returns, and he and Marcus Allen are tied for the AFC lead with 13. Gary Anderson puts it up deep into the end zone, and Lionel James will bring it out. He does not get it out to the 20. He's at the 17-yard line. And let's take a look at Louis Lipps. Joe, couldn't have been placed better.
The ball's a perfectly thrown pass. You see in a slant pattern like this, the ball has to get there quickly. If it's out in front, high or low, the receiver has a tough time catching it because it's all hands. He put it right on the numbers. And O.J. made a good point. That receiver knows he's going to get hit, too, in that area. So putting it on the numbers is the right spot to throw the football.
Boy, and we're seeing more and more of this almost pick action. You saw it was John Stallworth provide just a shade of a pick there for Louis Lipps to open him up. First down, San Diego. They're at their own 17-yard line. Kellen Winslow in the lineup. Fouts was taken. The blitz was on. They were all coming. Hinkle was there, but the man that got into Fouts' face and drilled him was Robin Cole. Pass was incomplete, but Robin Cole, who, again, has not been coming often. The Steelers foregoing the blitz much of this year, going back to a more staid, conservative-type defense. We talked about it earlier. A year ago, Merriweather had 15 sacks and went to the Pro Bowl. This year, Merriweather has 4 sacks. Second down and 10. Buford McGee. And McGee will lose yardage back to the 15. Brian Hinkle dropped McGee back close to the 15 for a loss of 2. Steelers have to watch McGee when he comes out. Over the past few weeks, they've used McGee on a kind of an option pass. He was a high school quarterback and later became a running back at Mississippi, but has a pretty good arm. He's thrown a couple of touchdown passes to Gary Anderson.
I think he was trying to run an option pitch with Gary Anderson on that play, but of course Pittsburgh played it very well.
Third down and 12. And there was movement. Jim Leonard, I believe, at the right guard. Premature movement.
False start prior to the snap. Number 63. Offense. Still third down.
It was Leonard, and of course the Steeler defense was not going to let him get away with that. They made the contact, and they'll back the Chargers up 5.
It looks like these Steelers have shaken off the rust, I think, from this long cross-country trip. They're coming to life defensively and offensively.
Well, they're gambling a little more.
Quick count by the Chargers and Dan Fouts. Again, throwing into the traffic, and that was almost picked off by Donnie Shell. There were 2 receivers right in the same area. Joyner was there, and Wes Chandler. They were within 3 or 4 yards when they had attracted both Woodruff and Donnie Shell, and Shell almost came up with the interception.
It took the ball a long time to get there. I know Fouts has a good arm, but it needs to be a little bit stronger to get it that far down the field and to the outside.
Lipps is leading the AFC over 13 yards a return, and he has a pair of touchdowns. Mojenko from the end zone. Left-footed kicker puts an unusual spiral on it for Lipps and drills him all the way back to the 39. Good move by Lipps. They were going for the block. He did not have much to work with back there in terms of blockers. So he just took it right up the middle, got the most he could out of it, and he gets it back to midfield. Good field position again for the Steelers. The Steelers will move into a tie in the AFC Central Division, 7-7 with Cleveland and Cincinnati. Cleveland lost today to Seattle. Cincinnati beat Dallas. And interestingly enough, no NFL team has ever won a division title with a record of 500 or less. And that could very well happen in the Central Division of the AFC. Now, nobody really loves them, but they have their own little game they play in that AFC Central Division. And a lot is on the line for the Steelers tonight. They feel they have to win tonight and their remaining 2 games against Buffalo and against the Giants. They feel they can win it if they do that. This is Frank Pollard. He goes over the top. He gets to the 45-yard line. It'll bring up 2nd down and 5, and we're going to pause 5 seconds and allow our stations to identify themselves.
WTAE-TV Pittsburgh.
From San Diego, Frank Gifford along with Joe Namath and O.J. Simpson watching the Steelers in a game they feel they must win if they are going to have an opportunity for the playoffs. The San Diego Chargers got out early. They moved ahead with a 7-0 lead, then it made it 14-7 as the Steelers got Abercrombie into the end zone. But the Steelers are starting to settle down. They now trail 21-14 as we watch Abercrombie inside the 45-yard line. Gain of about 1, and that's all, as he is hit by Billy Ray Smith and Earl Wilson. It'll be 3rd down and a long 3.
Gain of 1 yard.
Steelers, of course, feel they must win their 3, while Cleveland will lose 2 of their remaining 3, and they lost 1 today. So the Steelers are hoping that the Cleveland Browns will drop 1 of their remaining games, either against Houston or the Jets. Meanwhile, Cincinnati won big over Dallas today. They have remaining ahead of them Washington and New England, and they have defeated the Steelers twice. 3rd and short, underneath the Pollard. 1st down, Steelers near the 35-yard line.
Pollard was wide open that time coming out of the backfield. He came out to Billy Ray Smith's side of the backfield and circled across the middle, and we didn't have a defender on him. Watch him. He'll come off to the right side of your screen and cross the middle of it. There's not a defender around him except Billy Ray.
Well, in scouting against this Pittsburgh team, you realize they don't throw to the tight end. They throw very few passes to their back. The 2 starting backs have only caught 28 passes between them, and that's not much in the NFL today.
Outside receivers, meanwhile, have over 110 passes. Woodley. Spencer held short of the 1st down by a good effort from Billy Ray Smith.
Todd Spencer, the fullback at SC, blocked for Marcus Allen when Marcus won the Heisman Trophy. And, of course, his father was a very good heavyweight boxer named Thad Spencer. Playing fight a few times.
But that's a tough business at the ring game.
They've been feeding a lot of the highlights from key action around the league today into New York, where our partner Jim Lampley will take over at halftime, bring you up to date on what happened. Try to sort out some of the races. Only the Bhagwan could do that at this point. Abercrombie. Good defensive play, Mike Green. Good effort by Mike Green, getting help from Woody Lowe. 3rd down and 3. Mike Green and Billy Ray Smith came into the San Diego defense 3 years ago, and they are 2 of the solid members, where I think Don Coryell hopes he's around to build upon. They need a lot of help in this defensive unit. They have a great offense, but they need a lot of help as they come with the blitz. Woodley was not fooled, but Calvin Sweeney was well covered.
That's got to be a penalty. That ball, he pushed him with both hands when the ball was in the air.
Miles McPherson was covering Calvin Sweeney, and he was on him tight. Let's take a look at it.
Look at the bottom of your
Duel
screen.
is at the very bottom of your screen. Miles McPherson is up on Sweeney. Woodley read it beautifully. Saw it coming.
Ball's in the air. That's pass interference.
1st and 10. Or rather, Gary Anderson on. That would have been giving them a 1st and 10. Down inside the 20-yard line. Now they go with the field goal. Gary Anderson has been phenomenally accurate. He is now, as 45-yard field goal is hit by Gary Anderson. That's his 16th consecutive field goal. He's having a great year. 27 of 35 attempts and 16 straight.
And at the end of the year, when these football teams figure everything out.
Illegal block during the return. Number 59, receiving team. 1st down.
At the end of the year, when they figure everything out, the kicking game totals 25% of all the offensive and defensive plays each team runs.
Craig Bingham of the Chargers, former Pittsburgh Steeler, who has detected illegal use of the hand. Chargers at their 7-yard line. That's Spencer. Tim Spencer bowling up out over the 10-yard line near the 13. Gain of 6. It'll be 2nd down and 4. Less than 5 minutes remaining here in the first half. Steelers will give you a short football game if you let them play their game. They like to move it on the ground. Intermixed with a few play-action passes. And they have the two big backs to do it. For San Diego, they make no bones about it. They just want to put the ball in the air. Keep you honest with the running game now and then, but they like to throw the football. Out. Joyner. And again, they work on Rick Woods. Rick Woods filling in for an injured Harvey Clayton. From the quarterback's viewpoint, Faust looking all the way to Joyner, looked up, saw that he was going to get single coverage with Rick Woods, very unfamiliar with that position, that cornerback spot. And they have really picked on Woods tonight. Yard line, first down, San Diego. And the San Diego pattern. First down, give it to Spencer, keep him honest. Come back and put the football in the air. Spencer gets a couple of yards. It'll be second down and 8. This secondary for the Steelers has really been banged up all year long. They are really hurting. Dwayne Woodruff just returned as a starter last week. He was out on the injury reserve for 4 weeks. Donnie Shell has been racked up all season, but he's in there. And Harvey Clayton has missed last week's game with an ankle. He tried to start tonight, just couldn't do it. Ronnie Joyner is on the sideline, shaken up now for San Diego. They're looking at him. Second and 7. Faust wants a bunch of it. Chandler's there. Donnie Shell will never catch him. 75-yard touchdown.
They had just brought number 26, John Swain, into the ball game. He just let Jesse Bengross run right by him. He didn't cover him at all.
Mentioned earlier in the game about San Diego probably making more mental errors or lack of concentration, but it looks like the Steelers are making the mental errors tonight.
And there's no question that that had to be a zone coverage on the part, at least John Swain. Donnie Shell was just very slow getting there. That had to be some kind of zone coverage. Either that or Swain is really on the wrong chapter, not the wrong page.
Well, Shell and Woods had a conversation after the first touchdown San Diego scored. That was on a busted coverage.
75-yard touchdown for Wes Chandler. That's his 9th of the season. The good football game. Chargers having fun. They're going nowhere. They're trying to avoid a losing season for head coach Don Coryell. They're out of the playoffs. The Steelers in a desperate battle to stay in the playoffs. Look at the zone coverage now. They're shaping up the zone coverage. Otherwise, you wouldn't have John Swain right up there tight on Wes Chandler.
On the top of your screen, you see John Swain turn back to the inside. Donnie Shell right on the 40-yard line, not getting to the outside on the top of your screen.
And it's all over. Chandler with not blazing speed, but Donnie Shell does not have much speed. Didn't have it when he arrived on the scene many years ago. He's made the most out of the ability that he has. Been to the Pro Bowl many times, but he had no chance with Chandler. And I agree with Chuck Noll. They have a lot of awesome weapons, and number 89 is one of them. Mojenko will kick off for San Diego as the Charger receivers get together on the sidelines. Joyner appears to be okay. They had been looking at him a few moments ago. Spencer's back, and Louis Lips is also back for the Steelers. Short kick by Mojenko. Lips out over the 25 to the 27-yard line. Well, he's had to be a Superman this season. Up and down season. 3 or 4 weeks ago, the Chargers defeated the Raiders in overtime, and it looked like they had everything in front of them. Went to Denver, lost in overtime, and it's been kind of downhill ever since. And there's Charlie Joyner. And the word is he is just fine. 178th consecutive game he's playing in tonight. 28-yard line for the Pittsburgh Steelers. 2 minutes, 58 seconds remaining in the first half. Woodley has the ball pulled out of his hand. Earl Wilson came off the field with the football, but the blitz was on. Not sure who pulled it out of Woodley's hand. They reached across the block and grabbed his arm, stripped the football. Let's take a look. Top of your screen. Lyndon King, big linebacker, beating the block, pulls it away from Woodley, and that is Woodley's 7th fumble in the last 6 games. He's also been sacked 11 times. He has had rough sledding, although he has been a winner in 3 of his 4 starts. On first down, Tim Spencer. Chargers leading 28-17, but the Steelers with a golden opportunity to put more points on the scoreboard. Spencer held for about a yard pickup. It'll be 2nd and 9. Near the 21-yard line of the Steelers. Really is the year of the little man. Joe Morris of the Giants had another big day against Houston today. He has 17 touchdowns, 6 of them in the last 2 games, and he has gone over 1,000 yards for the Giants. 2nd and 9. Fouts is back. A lot of time. Fires to Joyner. He had looked for Chandler. Flag comes in late, but he was given a lot of time. Fouts checked off when Chandler was not open and looked right up the middle, and there was Joyner. Ernie Zampese, the offensive coordinator, really has provided a varied attack for these Chargers.
You see Joyner go downfield, and he'll simply run an in pattern. David Little, the linebacker, is the man that falls down in the middle of your screen, and he can't quite get to the pass. It's his coverage. That's why he's so open. David Little just bit the dust.
Joyner working in the middle. You saw the face mask. It looks as though Rick Woods got the hand in there. It'll be first down, goal to go. And we will not get the play off. The clock was started, and we're at the 2-minute warning. San Diego leading 28-17 over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Back in San Diego, the Chargers can put some more points on the scoreboard. They have a first down and goal to go at the 3-yard line, and Don Coryell has already watched his league-leading offense roll up 246 yards. The first half is not over. Pittsburgh, of course, ended tonight with the #1 defense in the AFC. That will change dramatically if this continues. Buford McGee sprints to the outside. Touchdown, San Diego. Buford McGee in his 2nd year out of Mississippi. 11th round draft pick. Watch it again. Good blocking.
Well,
got a good block out in front.
Somebody was supposed to come upfield. Either your cornerback or your outside linebacker's job is to come upfield and force the runner to run inside, and no one got there.
Jim Leonard got there, the pulling right guard for San Diego. He made a good block on the force man, turned him inside, and McGee took it outside. Thomas for the conversion. Look at it. And mishandled there. The putter, Mojenko, is also the holder. The snapper, Dennis McKnight. There is Mojenko. So the conversion attempt is no good. And the Chargers lead the Steelers 34-17. As I know, many of you fans today were watching the Raiders and the Broncos as the Raiders won once again in overtime. Put themselves in great shape in the AFC Western Division. Let's look at it again. The ball was snapped well by McKnight. Mojenko just bobbled at getting it down. Thomas did a little two-step there, knowing he couldn't kick it until it was placed down.
Not a snowball in sight either. I mean, why did he drop it?
San Diego Chargers have made shambles thus far of the Steelers' defense, the league, the conference leading defense coming into tonight. They have obviously blown a couple of key coverages on touchdown passes, a couple of zones where the cornerback, and even though they have had to go tonight without Harvey Clayton, they have had some glaring errors.
They had the glaring errors with the blown coverages. They had to fumble down here. A good defensive play by the linebacker from San Diego. And then the kicking game has gotten them in trouble.
All on a night when they feel they had to win. And mishandles out of the end zone, although I think he would have stayed in there in any event. That'll bring the touchback and the ball out to the 20-yard line. Steelers have 3 timeouts. Well, you wouldn't say so. A year ago, they were just about the same position, and they went on, as I mentioned earlier, to win the division. They defeated Denver in the playoffs and ultimately lost to Miami in the AFC Championship game. That after 9-7 record. And if they can win tonight and the next 2 games, that's what they would be this season. Frank Pollard to the 21-yard line, a gain of 1 as the seconds tick off here at Jack Murphy Stadium. And we have the hurry-up offense, the 2-minute offense, whatever you want to call it. No huddle. With the play called in the huddle. Whitley, Stallworth. Good move by Stallworth. Down the sidelines and gets out of bounds, stopping the clock with 1:27. Stallworth taken out of bounds by Jeff Dale, the rookie out of LSU, at the 40-yard line. And that will give Chuck Noll and his quarterback David Woodley a little breathing room.
Well, John's having a good year, not a great year. He has over 60 receptions. His average per catch is a little lower than it has been in the past. This year he's down around 12 yards. He's running a little button hook there, and being the competitor that he is, he didn't go down. He got as much yards as he could and got out of bounds.
First down, Steelers, their own 40-yard line. Woodley, good pass to Stallworth, and he's upended at the 46-yard line. The Steelers still foregoing the use of their timeouts, and they have 3 of them. They've called the 2 plays in the huddle. That's the time ticking away here in the first half. Steelers would desperately like to put points on the scoreboard before they go in. Flag is down. That could be holding. Could be holding. Gothard, the other tight end, comes down.
On the field.
Going to work against San Diego. That flag, when it goes down in that position, usually indicates holding. An illegal use of hands on the part of San Diego. Here is referee Jerry Seaman.
Illegal use of hands to the face, number 63, defense, penalty decline, first down.
Jim Leonard. That could not be because he is an offensive guard. So somebody with a 3, it could be Earl Wilson. The only other 3 in that defensive line.
You know, that penalty, sometimes it's reminiscent of the old head slap. It used to be the defensive linemen were allowed to slap the offensive lineman in the head, but that has been changed in the last 2 years.
That's another first down for the Steelers. And they have 56 seconds remaining in the first half. Whitley tried to get it to Calvin Sweeney, and it's incomplete. Danny Walters and Miles McPherson back there covering for San Diego.
Well, Woodley certainly put the ball on the money that time. Well, Kelvin just lost his footing. Couldn't quite get a handle on the ball.
Again, lots of highlights coming your way. They'll be going to New York at halftime, joining Jim Lampley. Raiders big winners today in overtime over Denver. Moves them out to 10-4 in the Western Division of the AFC. Denver at 9-5, and Seattle with the win over Cleveland today went to 8-6. And right here, the Steelers trying to win and stay alive. On a second down and 10, they send Pollard crashing to the 25-yard line. They'll mark it near the 24, and this time David Woodley will use a timeout, bringing the Steelers down to 2. And there is Chuck Noll in his 17th year. Been around, seen just about everything. As I mentioned earlier, this is the latest in a season since 1971 that Chuck Noll has been coaching a team that's been under 500. That goes back to his first year. Chuck Noll's first year after coaching right here in San Diego, starting his career under Sid Gilman. Played for Paul Brown, played under Sid Gilman, played under Don Shula. Had all the basics when he came to the Steelers. 1969, he was 1-13 that season. And he has seen it all ever since. He's won 4 Super Bowls. No other coach has ever done that. He likes a year like this kind of year. He doesn't like the glare of publicity. He likes to teach. And this young ball club, the many turnovers of personnel he has had a lot of opportunity to teach.
I asked him in the meeting today why he's coaching the offense or helping coach the offense. He says it's because he likes to work. Keeps them busy. Obviously, his offense does need some work.
3rd down and 4. Steelers have 2 timeouts. The ball is at the 24-yard line of San Diego. Woodley had no chance at all. Lyndon King came from the outside linebacking position. No one touched him. Billy Ray Smith also came. They were right in Woodley's face. 4th down, we'll see Gary Anderson, who is 16 consecutive field goals now. He is 27 of 35, having a great year. The most consecutive field goals in the NFL's history is 23. Second best is Ara Yepremian. He had 20. Perfect once again.
Field goal try of 42 yards good.
41-yard field goal by Gary Anderson. So the Steelers get something out of it. They trail by 2 touchdowns, however. And the Chargers have exploded offensively tonight.
You know, trailing by 2 touchdowns after the way they've been playing this half isn't all that bad. They're still in this game. They just have to cut out the mental mistakes, which, again, I'm surprised that they're making. It's either do or die for the Steelers tonight. They should really be going after this team, concentrating on the job, but they're fouling up a lot.
Well, they wouldn't actually be totally dead if they went to 6 and 8 after tonight, but they would need an awful lot of help from an awful lot of people. They would not be mathematically eliminated. I think it's just fascinating that here we are. With the exception of this game, this will have no influence on it whatsoever. There's only one team through 14 weeks of play that has clinched the division. And that's, of course, the Chicago Bears. They clinched it a long time ago, about the middle of the season, or it would seem that way. But all the other divisions are still open. 36 seconds remaining in the first half. And I don't think you think onside kick against the San Diego Chargers and let their offensive unit back on the field again. In one shot, they could put 7 more points up there. Anderson kicking it along the ground, trying to keep it out of the hands, I think, of Gary Anderson, the other Gary Anderson on the field, who covers it at the 20-yard line.
That's the second time Gary Anderson kicked the ball like that. I think he's aiming at those front line guys, and he's trying to kick line drives and hope that they'll bounce off one of those guys. Sort of a modified onside kick.
San Diego, 1st and 10, 31 seconds remaining here in the first half. They have a commanding lead, 34-20. Chargers have 3 timeouts. And let's see what Don Coryell and Dan Fouts want to do with their remaining seconds here in the first half. Draw play, Tim Spencer. Out to the 28-yard line.
The ball carrier.
And now the Chargers will take a timeout.
It's unusual to run the ball on 1st down and then call a timeout.
I don't know why they'd do that. Personally, I think they'd want to be throwing the football downfield at this porous defense that the Pittsburghs are exhibiting tonight. They have time to get some more points on the board. He had 3 timeouts. Now he has 2. And they're not noted for their rushing offense.
Jack Murphy Stadium. The San Diego Chargers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Chargers out of it for the 3rd consecutive year out of the playoffs under head coach Don Coryell. He's under fire here by owner Alex Spanos, who, well, I wouldn't say under fire because Spanos has said nothing other than he is going to evaluate the Coryell situation after the season is over. But the Pittsburgh Steelers desperately want this football game tonight. They could move into a tie with Cincinnati and Cleveland in the AFC Central Division, and they would be right in it with 2 more games remaining to be played, but they have played sloppy football here in the first half, and they are trailing 34-20.
Normally you have teams spar in the first half and score points in the second half, and these teams have already scored 54 points between them.
Second down and 3. Fouts. No. Taken out of bounds was Wes Chandler. They are calling it good. He marked his foot on the 40-yard line and then gave us the wave off, which would indicate that it was caught out of bounds. But it is good. Chandler with another effort on the sidelines, and that was a well-thrown ball. That was zone coverage once again. Fouts had that same pass earlier picked off by Dwayne Woodruff. Woo. Donnie Shell pushing him out of bounds. I guess that's why they gave it to Chandler. On first down. Oh boy. Fouts almost had that picked off again. Trying to get downfield to Charlie Joyner, stopping the clock with 14 seconds. 14 seconds remaining in the half.
You know, he almost had that last pass picked off, but if he has the ball up in the air a little bit higher, it's another 6 points for the San Diego Chargers because Eric Williams cut underneath that pass. That would have been 6 points easily.
Second down and 10. Out to the left goes Chandler, and wide to the right is Penrose. Picked off again. It was Woodruff who has already picked one off on that same kind of pattern, who had it right in his hands and he couldn't handle it.
Well, Pittsburgh has made a change in their secondary. They shifted Rick Woods to the free safety position. He's playing in the hole now, but that could be just because they're playing strictly zone defense now.
Well, John Swain, whom they have brought in at the right cornerback, has had a lot of experience. He came from Miami, but he had spent quite a few years up with Minnesota. They put him at the corner, and they put Rick Woods back at safety, where he has had some experience. Third down and 10. Lionel James. Down goes Lionel James as the flag also goes down. Robin Cole was there to make the stop.
Penalty flag on the field.
I can't figure that out. I don't know why they wouldn't throw a 40-yard, 50-yard pass downfield and look for the interference, maybe completion.
Illegal use of hands, San Diego. Again, halftime highlights. We're putting them all together for you in New York, and we'll be going there, joining Jim Lampley at halftime. Shed a little more light on what's going on around the NFL this 14th weekend of the season.
Illegal block, above the waist, behind, number 86, offense, penalties declined, fourth down.
Penrose on the illegal block.
Like that.
Dan Fouts will kill the final 2 seconds. With a 2-touchdown lead, they're not going to get cute with it. That's what they will take into the locker room here at halftime. Chargers leading the Steelers 34-20. The Steelers have a big task ahead if they're going to stay alive with much of an opportunity for playoffs. With Jim Lampley. Here's Jim.
Good evening, Frank. As usual, the NFL playoff picture is a maze entering the final weeks of the season. According to the Elias Sports Bureau coming into this weekend, 21 of the league's 28 teams retain mathematical chances of making the playoffs. So far today, only New Orleans and Houston have been eliminated, although at the moment, of course, it looks pretty tough for Pittsburgh. Quickly, let's take a look at what happened in the AFC, where the league's tightest divisional race exists in the AFC East. The New York Jets played in Lonely Rich Stadium in Buffalo, and Ken O'Brien had another brilliant day as the Jets bounced back from the Thanksgiving Day loss to Detroit to move to 10-4 on the season. O'Brien with 3 touchdown passes. This was the first one for 20 yards to Mickey Schuler, with the Jets on top 7-0 in the second quarter. And then the bomb in the second quarter still, O'Brien to Wesley Walker for a 96-yard touchdown pass, the longest such pass in New York Jet history. It was 14-0 at that point. Freeman McNeil returned to action, carried the ball 27 times, but this was Johnny Hector who scored late in the second quarter from 12 yards out to make it 21-0 Jets. and they moved to 10-4, staying in the three-way tie atop the division, along with the Miami Dolphins, who traveled to Green Bay, played in 25-degree weather, weren't bothered by it at first as they charged to a 20-3 lead, but then the Pack came back. Dolphins leading 20-10 in the third quarter. Zorn to James Lofton from 56 yards out, cut the Packer deficit to 20-17. They went ahead 24-20, but Marino was in the midst of a hot day. 5 touchdown passes for only the second time in his career. This was the big one. Little more than 3 minutes to go. A 2-yarder from Marino to Joe Rose that gave Miami a lead it would not relinquish at 27-24. A minute later, the insurance touchdown, Marino to the other tight end, Dan Johnson. He went in for a 61-yarder that made it 34-24. Miami moves to 10-4, just like the Jets and also like the New England Patriots. The Patriots played Detroit, which of course has so much trouble on the road, the game in Sullivan Stadium. The Lions have now moved to 1-7 on the road and have lost 11 post-Thanksgiving games in a row. Tony Eason gave the Patriots a 7-0 first quarter lead with this 16-yard touchdown run. The Patriot defense dominated the Lions and did not allow a touchdown in the game. In the second quarter, Eason provided the Pats with a 14-3 lead on this 6-yard touchdown pass to Derek Ramsey. Craig James went over 1,000 yards for the season in the game. The three teams tied up at 10-4. Next Monday night here on ABC, New England will play Miami. Earlier in the season, the Pats beat the Dolphins 17-13. Biggest game of the day, Los Angeles against Denver in Mile High Stadium. And for the second time in 3 weeks, the Raiders OT'd Denver. It was 14-0 in favor of Denver. The Raiders stormed back. That 15-yard touchdown pass by Allen tied it at 14. Appeared as though the Raiders might win the game in regulation, but Dennis Smith's third interception of the day stopped the Raiders with 3 minutes left to play. In the overtime, Howie Long jarred Elway, stripping the ball loose. Greg Townsend recovered the fumble for L.A. on the Denver 9, and Tom Flores took no chances as on the next play, Barr kicked the game winner from 26 yards out. That puts the Raiders in the driver's seat in the AFC West. Here is the AFC playoff picture. Something has to give among the 3 Eastern Division teams at the top of the list. The Raiders are the most secure team in the division. Cincinnati and Cleveland both at 7-7, but Cincinnati has a better record in the division, and for the moment, Denver and Seattle are outsiders with playoff shots remaining.
Has already thrown 3 touchdown passes against the Pittsburgh Steelers in a game that the Steelers feel that they must have to keep their playoff opportunities alive. Let's go back now to Jim Lampley in New York.
Skip, the Dallas Cowboys made their first visit ever to Cincinnati's Riverfront Stadium today and wish they hadn't gone. The Bengals, red hot, have scored 95 points in their past 2 games, and this game was over early. First series of the game, Danny White tackled in the end zone by Ross Browner, 2-0 Bengals. Then there was a Kennebrew touchdown, and already leading 9-0, the Bengals added another TD when Esiason hooked up with Eddie Brown from 45 yards out, 16-0 Cincinnati. There were still 9 minutes left to play in the first quarter. Then James Brooks galloped 27 yards for a touchdown on the next Cincinnati possession. It was 22-0 Bengals. There were still 6 minutes left in the first quarter. Icing on the cake in the third quarter, Esiason 58 yards to Chris Collinsworth, who had a hot day. The 50 points were the most given up by the Cowboys in 15 years, and Danny White reflected on the whipping after the game.
It's just like being in a horse race, and your horse has got 3 legs and theirs has got 4. You know, it was a matter of keeping up with them, which we couldn't do.
The Dallas loss opened the way for the Giants to tie up the NFC East, and they took advantage, scoring more points in the first half than they had in a full game all year. Joe Morris, first Giant since '72 to go over 1,000 yards. Ron Johnson was the only other Giant to do it. Morris had 3 more touchdowns today, including this 12-yarder that opened the scoring and made it 7-0. Biggest play of the game, Giants leading 21-14 in the second quarter. Lawrence Taylor stripped the ball from Warren Moon, picked it up, ran it down to the 10-yard line, and this would set up Joe Morris's third touchdown of the day. It came on a 2-yard run, made it 28-14 New York, and the Giants were cruising. Moments later, on their next possession, just before the half, Sims read the blitz, found Bobby Johnson from 22 yards out. It was 35-14 New York. The Giants tie Dallas at 9-5. The 2 teams meet in Irving next week. NFC playoff picture. Chicago is already in the playoff. Something has to give between the Giants, Dallas, and Washington, the 3 East Division teams. The Rams play San Francisco here on ABC tomorrow night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, and of course the 49ers can tie up the NFC West. if they can beat the Rams for the second time this year. Other games today, Washington beat Philadelphia, damaging Philadelphia's chances. 17-12, second time in 3 games that the Skins have won with Schrader starting at quarterback. Chicago struggled but beat Indianapolis 17-10. Most significant thing to happen there is that McMahon was back in the saddle at quarterback for the Bears. Peyton over 100 yards again. Seattle beat Cleveland 31-13. Cleveland receiver Clarence Weathers was on the field for 10 minutes after an injury but did not sustain.
On first down, Chandler's wide open, and Fouts threw the ball into Woodruff. He bobbled it, and it was banged into the air and taken by John Swain. So the Steelers get the quick turnover here in the second half. Fouts had Chandler wide open. He was a little late getting it there. Bounced the ball off Woodruff, and it was deflected again into the arms of John Swain. Here it is from the end zone. Right here, Chandler is really open. Fouts was looking downfield for the read. And you'll see he's still open. The pass not thrown well. It was Severs who batted the ball, trying to get it away from one defender right into the arms of John Swain. And the Steelers have a 1st and 10. The ball at the 40-yard line of San Diego. The Steelers with a golden opportunity. Woodley with a lot of time. Gets the screen to Pollard. Pollard did not have any blockers, but the defensive unit of the Chargers had dropped into the coverage, and Pollard was able to get the first down at the 26-yard line. John Swain, his first interception as a Steeler earlier this year. He had been with Miami. They released him. He had been, I believe, 4 years with Minnesota prior to being released by Minnesota this year. He was ever first down, 26-yard line of San Diego. Louis Lips, top of your screen. They like to go to Lips in just about this area of the football field. If they can get one-on-one coverage, they'll go to Lips, but this time they work Abercrombie into the middle. Let's take a look at the halftime stats. And you can see a big night, or at least the first half for Dan Fouts. Most of those 267 yards reflected in the passing total. Lips goes right again on 2nd down and 5. John Stallworth is split to the left. Abercrombie. Steelers are trying to work it in there on the ground. Abercrombie gets 2, perhaps 3 to bring up 3rd down and a long 2. And the San Diego Charger defense has been notorious for being very strong in the early going of football games and then going downhill. They have had a lot of replacements. They have a lot of young people back there. The secondary does not have a defensive back who has played 2 years in the same position. They have a rookie in one corner, and John Hendy had a pair of interceptions a week ago. One returned 75 yards for a touchdown against Buffalo. As the clock is stopped by the official on the field. And the Chargers chose to take a timeout. That's unusual, to say the least. But the Chargers called the timeout, and Lyndon King has moved over to the sidelines where he will confer with head coach Don Coryell. There's Lyndon King. The defensive coordinator for the San Diego Chargers is Dave Adolph, who was the defensive coordinator for Cleveland a year ago when they had such a fine defensive unit. He came in, and I believe it was the second week of the season that Tom Bass was released by these Chargers, the defensive coordinator for many years, and Dave Adolph took over. Meanwhile, the complete scenario is being played out as over in the other sidelines, David Woodley is talking there with head coach Chuck Noll.
You know, I have to think, Frank, that they're talking about a 4-down situation. I can't see Pittsburgh, if they failed to get a first down here. Well, I think they're going to try and run the ball and maybe go for it to get on 4th down if they don't get it. I'd play this as a 4-down situation.
I agree. If I got to 4th and 1 or less, I would definitely run the football at them again.
You know, the Steelers are really getting in trouble defensively now. Harvey Clayton went out early tonight with the reoccurring ankle injury. Now we are told that Eric Williams, their free safety, will not return. Well, he has a concussion, and we have been told that Clayton will not be back tonight.
Right, well, that's why we have John Swain playing that right corner position and Rick Woods back at the free safety position because of Eric Williams' injury.
Third down and 3. Lips and Stallworth both split to the right. Weegie Thompson, number 87, bottom of your screen. Those are the wide receivers. Pollard, first down yardage to the 12-yard line.
Well, they may be running a conservative type of offense, but it's certainly unusual. On that play, Pollard was in motion almost, and they still pitched the ball to him.
I haven't seen that play in a long time. That was a good call.
I'm going to drop in on the Canadian Football League to see that one. Let's take a look at it from the end zone. It is unusual for the Steelers.
Look at Pollard. He was in motion. What they were trying to do is get him outside before the pursuit or the linebackers can get there. The Steelers, the Chargers played it well, but the Steelers got the first down.
It was effective. First down at the 12-yard line. Woodley. Cunningham was on the natural surface. He slipped and fell and caught the ball in a prone position. And he takes it down inside the 6-yard line, right in front of Gil Byrd.
It's a shame he had to slip and fall. I tell you, 6'5" and 265. It'd be mighty difficult to bring down a strong safety or free safety to have his hands full trying to tackle Benny Cunningham.
Every time the ball goes to Benny, I think he's a little shocked to see a pass coming to him. The guy's only caught 3 passes coming into this game.
And he has a couple tonight. Second down and a long 3 for the Steelers. They work the middle with Frank Pollard. And he'll have the first down, I do believe, inside the 2-yard line. Depending, of course, upon the marking. It should be a Steeler first down, goal to go.
Tell you, Mike Webster, Terry Long, and Craig Wolfley, the center and 2 guards on this team, they're doing a super job inside because every time they run inside, they appear to be stopped, but they get a push of 3 or 4 yards. Just muscle.
First down, Steelers. First down, goal to go. The ball just at the 2-yard line. This drive began back near midfield with the interception by John Swain. Second interception of the night of Dan Fouts. Steelers trailing by 14. They could shorten that deficit considerably. Pollard to the 1-yard line. Billy Ray Smith, key man on that stop, along with Danny Walters for the Chargers. Billy Ray Smith, his father, of course, many times an All-Pro with the Baltimore Colts. Billy Ray, #1 draft pick out of Arkansas 3 years ago, and developing into one of the fine linebackers around. Second down, goal to go. Todd Spencer joins Frank Pollard as a setback for the Steelers. Spencer is 36. Pollard, Steelers are saying that he broke the plane, but the officials say he did not. It'll be third down and goal to go. Inches from the touchdown. Clock will be stopped while they untangle. Mark just short. And there's no question this is a 4-down situation. Crowd for the first time tonight, and it's a sellout crowd here at San Diego, is getting into it. Their little darlings are not going to the playoffs, and they're looking at another losing season, the 3rd consecutive season, but they're good fans here in San Diego. That's Woodley over the top. Touchdown, Steelers. So the turnover near midfield. The interception by John Swain pays off in a Steeler touchdown. John Woodley over the top. David Woodley, rather. Interesting young man. Came up out of LSU where he was an alternate quarterback and became Don Shula's choice. Youngest quarterback who ever play in the Super Bowl, to start in the Super Bowl 17, that lost to Washington after the 82 season. Good athlete, David Woodley. Here's Gary Anderson. And so now the Steelers are down by 7. We'll be back in San Diego in just a moment. David Woodley has just scored on the quarterback sneak to bring the Steelers to within 7 points. So we're going to pause 5 seconds and allow our stations to identify themselves.
WTAE-TV, Channel 4, Pittsburgh.
Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego in a game the Steelers desperately need to stay alive in their playoff hopes this 1985 season. They feel they need to win tonight in their remaining 2 games against Buffalo and the Giants, hoping that Cleveland will falter once again, as they did today against Seattle, and that Cincinnati will lose once. This is Lionel James not having a productive night. James hit at the 21-yard line. James came into tonight needing to average 137 yards per game, all-purpose yardage, if he was going to replace Terry Metcalf, the St. Louis Cardinals, who in 1975 had 2,462 yards, all-purpose yards. His coach at the time, Don Coryell. Thus far in the night, James receiving and on returns and rushing has gained 60 yards. James is the single setback now, 1st and 10 San Diego, and this is James on the draw. He'll squeak out a couple as Keith Willis made the stop for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I'm a little surprised not to see Dan Fouts really trying to go at John Swain, who's playing right cornerback now in place of Rick Woods. You know, you're having backup people playing in the football game. It seems like you should do the best thing you do, and that's pass the football against the most difficult thing the Steelers have to do right now, and that's defend against the pass. I'm surprised they're trying to run the ball.
He's on the right side, Joe, and he's been picked off twice over there.
Well, they're right. I'm talking about the defenses right.
2nd down and 8. Fouts goes down.
Well, with the problems that they're having on their offensive line, Joe, I think that's one of the reasons he may be running on 1st down.
Robin Cole was in there. Robin Cole has been pressuring Fouts all night with the blitz. That time he got him. And that is the Steelers' first sack in 3 games. And their 31st of the season. They did it with a little deal right up the middle. And when you have offensive linemen playing out of position, young, inexperienced, that's going to happen. 3rd down and 18. Batted away and almost picked off. Woodruff made a diving attempt. And they are really getting to Dan Fouts now. This is the #1 defense in the AFC that we have been watching over the season.
When you have a beat-up, injured offensive line that San Diego has, on that play, Pittsburgh brought 8 people. They brought 8 people on that rush.
Mojenko to punt for San Diego. Louis Lipps is at midfield. Lipps has already carried a couple of punt returns back for touchdowns this season. Dangerous return man. He did it, of course, last year as a rookie. He has the time from his own 42-yard line. Good coverage by the Chargers. Lipps to the 45-yard line. And once again, the Steelers have good field position. They trail San Diego by 7 points. 1st down and 10, the Steelers at their own 46-yard line. Pollard just pulling up close to midfield. He'll get 4 out of that. It'll be 2nd down and 6. Yeah, I know that, dude. Good crowd, good football fans here in San Diego. Chargers now out of the playoffs for the 3rd consecutive year. This game relatively meaningless to San Diego tonight, and yet there's a sellout crowd here at Jack Murphy Stadium. 2nd down and 6. John Stallworth is split to the left. Louis Lipps up at the top of your screen. Whitney to Pollard, with a good block out front, and Pollard just banging ahead. Good yardage down to the 38-yard line. That was Tunch Ilkin who provided the big block for Pollard. Let's take a look at it. Watch number 62 out of Indiana State a few years ago. Born in Turkey. He'll get the block right here for Pollard. That's Tunch.
Well, on that play, you can see Pollard is a solid inside runner, but he gets outside. He's looking for somebody to run into. Ran over a couple of guys on that play. You know, it's funny. Only could the Chargers score 34 points in 2.5 quarters and still be worried about a muff PAT.
1st down and 10. Abercrombie And this time he goes down at the line of scrimmage. Billy Ray Smith will drop Abercrombie for a loss of a yard.
And well, the longer this game goes and the tighter it gets, you have to lean toward Pittsburgh. At least I do, because they're still fighting for their lives. They still have that playoff hope alive, and the Chargers don't. I have to believe the incentive is for Pittsburgh, and that means a lot in football.
And, of course, throughout the season, the Chargers defense, as they have tonight, has played tough at the early stages of the game, but then they have had problems in the third and fourth quarters. Second down and 11. A lot of time for Woodley. And Sweeney was the intended receiver. Good defensive play by Danny Walters. Made a diving deflection. Sweeney had a big game a week ago when Stallworth had to leave the game. He had 8 receptions, the best of his career. This is Sweeney, former USC wide receiver, and he just tripped on the foot of Danny Walters, but Sweeney had a big week. He caught 8 passes, also revealed that he had signed a new contract with the Steelers. He'll be back. Never really made it big with the Steelers. Played behind Lynn Swan. Now he's working behind John Stallworth and, of course, Louis Lipp. Third down and 11. Listen to the crowd. They're here. Woodley. And it's complete. There's a scramble for it downfield. That was Lips. A very athletic move on the part of Louis Lips. And he is a good athlete. He can go up high, come down with the football. He has great speed. He works here against Wayne Davis. Watch him go up. Has good hands. A lot of people have likened him to Lynn Swan. And it's right down in this area where the Steelers like to go to him. They like to hit him in the corner and let him just go up and get it. That time, Lips got the first down at the 23-yard line of the Chargers. Draw play to Abercrombie. And Abercrombie is dropped by Earl Wilson. Loss of a yard.
That's a tough call on first down because you're playing against the Steelers. You know they want to run the football, so most of your down linemen and linebackers are playing the run, and you try to run a draw.
Yep, that is a strange call. I'd look for Woodley. You have to be careful about Woodley and the bootleg play. I've seen him run so many of them over the last couple of years that this defense better be alert. Old David knows from checking out that backside on the sweep.
Good time for the Chargers to come with the blitz. Second and long yardage. Abercrombie is there, and a missed tackle. Abercrombie will take it in. Good move on Abercrombie's part. Ronnie O'Baird, what a game tackle. And Woodley hit Abercrombie. He makes a good move on O'Baird. And right into the end zone.
Well, this is what you're looking for, one-on-one with your halfback. Actually, that's Jeff Dale, number 37. He came up, and what you want is a one-on-one situation with a halfback, and a guy like Walter Abercrombie is, at times, it appeared that he could be a great running back. At times he hasn't. Tonight he looks pretty good on that.
And we've got a tied football game. The Pittsburgh Steelers, tough through the years of Chuck Noll. 4 Super Bowls they've won, and they have come roaring back here in the second half. Abercrombie and Woodley have tied this game up. Abercrombie's second touchdown reception of the night. The first time in his career he's done that. Gary Anderson to kick off. The other Gary Anderson for San Diego is back there with Lionel James. They're a dangerous return man for San Diego. It'll be Lionel James from the goal line. The flag is down and James has open field. And that might be coming back. Good effort by James out to the 46-yard line. And they'll bring it back 3 times now on kickoff returns. The San Diego Chargers have been penalized, and there's a slow Pittsburgh Steeler in getting up. That's Todd Spencer they're looking at. Boy, there are some violent collisions on these special teams. Spencer right in the middle of that wedge. Here's Jerry Seaman.
personal foul, illegal block below the waist, number 59, receiving team during the return, first down.
Greg Bingham once again on the kickoff team, getting the penalty and walking off the field, and looking to be all right is Todd Spencer. First and 10, San Diego, and now they start from inside their own 10-yard line after a fine return by Lionel James was negated by the penalty. James taking it all the way out to the 41-yard line. That's Tim Spencer. Held to about a 2-yard pickup. It'll be second down and 8. And we're going to remind you Saturday here on ABC. ABC's Wide World of Sports returns with exciting boxing action as America's hottest up-and-coming fighters go toe-to-toe at the U.S. Amateur Boxing Championships. The event will be seen live, except on the West Coast. And you'll see it at 4:30 Eastern Pacific, 3:30 Central Time on ABC's award-winning Wide World of Sports. Second and 8. And Anderson to the 17-yard line. He is really hit. It'll be third down and 4. And we're glad to have Billy Edwards back. He's the man who stops and goes for us. Lets everything happen down on the sidelines. He's had a little bit of a problem. He's back with us. He was also in Norman, Oklahoma yesterday. Man does get around.
Billy.
Glad to see him back. 3:07 remaining here in the third quarter, and the clock is moving. The clock tied at 34. Joyner seemed a little confused. This is Lionel James. And the little man who played so big gets the first down for San Diego out over the 30-yard line. Rick Woods there defensively, along with Johnny Shell to make the stop. James will have the first down out over the 30.
I'm going to say the clock was moving, but the Chargers haven't been. This is a big play for the Chargers, getting out from their own goal line. You know, I can't help but wonder if going back to that 45-man player limits hurt the quality of play in this NFL. We're looking at the Steelers, a fine football team, but because of some injuries, they've really allowed the Chargers to score a lot of points tonight.
Quite a graphic. You saw that record by Lenny Moore. Most yardage receiving in the season was setting back in 58. Kellen Winslow. Fouts was a little bit behind Winslow. And it's incomplete. One that I'm quite sure that Kellen thought he should have had.
Hey, but you were right. That was way behind him. If Dan has that ball out in front of Kellen, that's a big gainer.
Word is from the Steeler bench is that John Stallworth has some cramps, and he is expected to be back into the action. Winslow, of course, making a dramatic comeback this season after what could have been a career-ending knee injury a little over a year ago. Thus far in the season, Winslow has 22 receptions, and that's Winslow in motion. Second down and 10. Lionel James. James out of the 35 to the 37-yard line, 6-yard pickup. It'll be third down and 4. Gary Dunn defensively on the bottom of that pile for the Steelers. Here's John Stallworth. He does appear to be all right. He missed the second half of last week's Denver game with a injured calf muscle. Grand old man of these Steelers, the leading receiver this year, just rolling along now in his 12th season. Third down and 4. Chandler was wide open, right in between the zone, and he'll have the first down at the 47-yard line of the Steelers. Chandler is having a big night. The man they are spinning and twisting around is Rick Woods. Although, to his credit, I think a couple of the mistakes that were where he looked like he was the obvious one could have been the mess up in the defense. Or was he open there? At the 47-yard line of the Steelers. First and 10, San Diego. Looking for Anderson. Did he catch that? Yes, he did. In and out of the hands of Woodruff. He went up for what appeared to be an easy interception. And Anderson caught that ball falling. Inside the 10 at the 7. We couldn't see it because of the crowd. Let's look at it. Anderson now, he starts to go down. Great concentration, though. Look at him. He's down. Woodruff was thinking interception. He had an easy opportunity, but it's just a fantastic catch. Great concentration by Gary Anderson.
Well, it could be argued he didn't have control of that ball when he hit the out of bounds, but obviously he did. The official called it good. Huh?
Oh, this is getting close to the holiday season, Joe. Have a little spirit.
Yeah, he didn't have control of that, I have to say.
Timeout is called by the Steelers. Dan Fouts will move over to the sideline. 40-yard pickup on that Fouts to Gary Anderson completion.
All I was saying is I thought he didn't have control of the ball when he was sliding on the white line. This doesn't really give a good angle of it, but you'll see him reaching for the ball again as he's sliding out of bounds. The ball's there. He doesn't have control of it. He's fighting for it. You see that left hand? Right hand trying to get it in there. He's on the line.
Fisher right on top of that one.
Yeah,
it's a 40-yard pickup.
If Fisher was right on top of the play with Indianapolis and New England last week, too.
First down goal to go.
Lighten up, Joe.
This one Lionel James cannot come down with. Don Coryell, the only coach in this game who has won 100 or more games at the collegiate level. He did that with Whittier and San Diego State. Never had a losing season in the many years he coached those two teams. And, of course, he has done it with the Cardinals and the San Diego Chargers. Mid-70s, he took the St. Louis Cardinals to 2 divisional championships. His first 3 complete years at San Diego, he won the division in the AFC West. He's struggling this year. Second down goal to go. McGee takes the option out to Gary Anderson. They've been running this play very effectively. This time McGee faked the option to Gary Anderson and took it in. And San Diego, once again, has the lead.
You'll take a look at this play. You'll see number 26 is the guy who came upfield. He could have made the tackle, but what his job is to stay with Gary Anderson. He was worried about McGee pitching the ball to Anderson, and consequently he took his eye off the guy with the ball, and the guy with the ball ended up in the end zone.
And Brian Hinkle, the linebacker on that side, took inside pursuit, and that's really what gave our runner the freedom to get in the end zone.
Bob Thomas drills it through. And the Steelers are down by 7 again in a very important game for them. And another look at Buford McGee. He's looking up at the scoreboard replay. Hey, I'm doing all right, aren't I? And indeed, he did all right.
That's a nice play. This is about the only team in football that runs that option play. We're looking at the scoreboard replay. As I said, you see John Swain upfield. He's doing what he's supposed to do. That I'm sure John's job was to stay with Anderson.
Up until a point if he has inside support, but Hinkle got hung up, so you'd have to make the man pitch the ball. At least he's liable to throw a bad pitch or get it on the ground. This way, just walk into the end zone.
1 minute remaining in the third quarter. And David Whitley will have to go to work once again. A lot of points up on that scoreboard.
75, and we're not out of the third quarter yet.
We get close to the record. What was it, 48-47, Washington, Green Bay? We worked that out pretty good, didn't we, O.J.?
That's right. That's 95 points. I'm sure I said that the first time.
We had a lot of fun that night, and we are looking at another one. We have another quarter to go in a minute. These teams have just been going up and down the football field. Bob Thomas to kick. Spencer is back. Lips is back. Mojenko, rather. They replaced Thomas after he kicked one poorly on the opening kickoff. Now Mojenko has equaled that, kicked one out of bounds. He'll have to try this again from a yard farther back at the 30-yard line.
5-yard penalty.
Ralph Mojenko, rookie out of Michigan State, 4th-round draft pick. Kicking game has not been a thing of beauty for the Chargers tonight or the Steelers. You ever played a game, O.J., that had this many points on it? I know in Buffalo, you guys used to lose a lot of 38, 34s and things like that.
We've lost some high-scoring games, yes, where we'd scored 34 or so and lose. I've been in a few games where the other team scored about 60 and we scored 14, so that's close.
That man has been in many of them. He's been in more 40, 41 games than anyone in pro football, I think. How about you, Joe?
No, we've always had a good defense at the University of Alabama with the New York Jets. I don't think anyone ever scored that many points on us, except maybe Dallas, Miami, Chicago. It seemed like we were always on the short end of those long scores.
Chargers coming up with sort of a poor man's wave. We haven't seen that in weeks. Bojenko to kick off. And this one is not a thing of beauty either. Picked up by Lips after it was bobbled there by Small. And Lips turns it into something out to the 33-yard line. Good field position for the Steelers. 14th week of this NFL season that began for so many players back in the heat of the summer. Watching games played across the nation from San Diego today. You think of all the emotions, think of all the happenings over this season. And still, there's only one team that has clinched the division, with 2 games remaining on the schedule. That's rather remarkable in itself. Steelers first and 10 at their own 32-yard line. Abercrombie out over the 35 to the 37. Gain of 5. It'll be second down and 5. For the Steelers, into tonight, seesaw battle with the San Diego Chargers. Chargers up once again, 41 to 34. The Steelers know that they must win their final 3 games, including this one tonight. Then they have Buffalo at home on December the 15th. Saturday, they close out their season December the 21st against the Giants. They figure that they can win all 3 of these games. Cleveland will lose another one. They lost today to Seattle. And Cincinnati will lose 1. Cincinnati has on their schedule Washington and New England. Cleveland has Houston and the Jets. But a lot of stake tonight for the Steelers as Abercrombie is upended for a loss of about 4 yards as the quarter ends. Jeff Dale up there to make the stop. The rookie out of LSU.
I think they're going to rule that the quarter ended before the ball was snapped.
It was almost simultaneous. No, that play did not count. When we come back, it'll be second down and 5. Stadium. It'll be the site of Super Bowl 22. 3 years down the road. And they have expanded now to over 60,000 seats, and that expansion will continue. And we begin the 4th quarter of play for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the San Diego Chargers. David Whitley going all the way at quarterback for the Steelers, looking over a second down and 5. The ball at the 37-yard line of the Steelers. Seesaw game, a lot of points on the board. Chargers leading 41-34 as Frank Pollard drives the middle, held short of the 40-yard line. It'll be third down and 3. Take a look at the stats as they evolve from halftime. Dan Fouts had already thrown for 3 touchdown passes at 213 yards. A lot of glaring errors committed by the Steeler defense, but they settle down in the 3rd quarter, and the numbers have drawn closer. A couple of big plays. 75-yard touchdown pass to Wes Chandler by Dan Fouts. Whitley is back. Throws underneath, finds Pollard. And Pollard inside the 45-yard line of San Diego. Up into there by John Hendy. And we're getting into an area where we might match that scoring record for Monday Night Football of 48-47. Green Bay's win over Washington.
Well, here you see Pollard has Billy Ray Smith in the chase position and does a good job of catching the ball and getting the first down. He just ran a little circle pattern across the middle and got Billy Ray going in the wrong direction.
Keep looking down on the field and see a lot of single coverage. Louis Lips against John Hendy, the rookie. And nevertheless, the Steelers have not tried to go up on top to get to him. Here we are in 1st and 10. Wide open is Stallworth. That time they were looking for Lips. deep. He was covered by Hendy. They went back to Stallworth.
He was sort of covered by Hendy. I mean, Louis Lipps with one of the great moves I've ever seen on a cornerback, and it was a little late. Stallworth was coming over the middle, and as you can see, he is wide open, running underneath this zone coverage.
Working right in front of Danny Walters, and Stallworth gets the first down. And this is where we thought he was going to go. It'll be a little stop and go. John Hendry, the rookie from Long Beach State, bought the whole farm on that one. But Lipps was open just as David Woodley had released the ball to Stallworth. First down at the 17-yard line of San Diego. Pollard bulling his way to the 15-yard line. Gain of 2, perhaps 3. It'll be second down at 8.
Well, you can bet there isn't any quit in this Pittsburgh Steelers team. There's too much at stake. This is probably the most important quarter of their season right now. It's do or die. If we don't get it, we have no chance of the playoffs. Well, maybe there's a chance.
Mathematically, they would be alive in the Central Division of the AFC, which doesn't work like most other divisions. There's the reverse.
They ran
Louis Lipps. Goodbye. And he will jog in.
That was a great call. Twice they brought Louis Lipps back as if he was going to run a reverse, and they've thrown touchdown passes to Walter Abercrombie, and on that play they gave it to him.
14th touchdown of the season. He had 11 receiving. He has just run one in. He has 2 on punt returns, matching what he did a year ago. There's the handoff to Pollard. Terry Long got a good block out in front of it, number 74, the right guard of the Steelers, but it was a piece of cake for Louis Lipps. And Gary Anderson is on for the attempt to tie it up once again. Anderson splitting the upright. Louis Lipps can do a lot of things on a football field, and he'll be doing them in the Pro Bowl. Games thus far in this year, and here we are with 12 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter, and we are already fourth on the list. San Diego, as you can see, they've been in a few of them, as you might suspect. This game is almost like it's being played on skates.
And we have the best defensive team in the AFC playing.
San Diego couldn't care less. Not their offensive unit. Final James is back. Gary Anderson for San Diego is deep. And Gary Anderson of Pittsburgh will kick off. And they once again drill it along the ground. Here's Gary Anderson. Oh, Anderson out of the 35. Violent contact made there with Steve Morse. First down, San Diego. Good field position, their own 36-yard line. And next weekend, ABC Sports presents the Team Invitational Golf Championship. Coverage continuing on Sunday. First and 10, San Diego. Fouts is back again. What's new? Charlie Joyner working magic on the sidelines once again. He's been doing that for 17 years. And he gets the first down up over midfield. Let's look at that again. Now this really is magical. He really had to stretch right on his tiptoes.
And the Chargers first down.
There he is. He knows exactly where he is. That is amazing.
There was some fine pass by Dan Fouts, too. The touch he had dropping the ball over the defender down to Joyner.
And the show continues as the Chargers are moving up the field once again. Buford McGee hit at the line of scrimmage. Robin Cole was there initially. Robin Cole has turned into a superb linebacker. He moved inside from outside last year and promptly went to the Pro Bowl, as did his counterpart on the outside, Mike Merriweather. A pair of Pro Bowl linebackers we're watching tonight, of Merriweather and Robin Cole. Number 1 draft pick 9 years ago out of New Mexico, and he found a home. Second and 10, stops back again. Picks off. John Swain. Swain was there again, his second interception, and Fouts' third of the night.
What happened on that play? Charlie Joyner was running a slant pattern, and he tripped. He tripped and fell down over Swain's feet, and Dan did not see him fall down and still tried to get the ball to him. By the time he gets up, the ball's in the air, and it's right to Swain.
Swain was kind of shocked. He said, "Me?" Looked around. There's Charlie Joyner. Swain takes it back out to the 43-yard line, and Pittsburgh now has good field position. 11 minutes remaining in the football game. We are tied at 41. Pollard has... You got to love this crowd because they keep chanting defense, defense to the worst defense in the NFL through 13 games as you look at John Swain. They are optimists. Second down and 6. Pollard got 4. David Woodley in his 5th start. He replaced Mark Malone, who went out after the 8th game with a partially dislocated big toe. Pollard made the most out of a great block by Tooch Ilkin. And he takes it down to the 37-yard line for a Steeler first down.
I've never seen a screen pass or quick screen defense so poorly. That's his first reception, Frank, in 6 weeks, did I hear?
Well, he has 7 tonight. The first pass he's caught earlier tonight was the first in 7 weeks. Oh, boy. He does number 62 here. He does a great job.
He sure does. And what Pollard does, he's not the shiftiest guy, but he's a hard runner. He gives it everything he has, and he did on that play. Gets upfield in a hurry.
Abercrombie tried to get outside, hit by Woody Lowe. Gets 3 out of it. It'll be second down and 7 for the Steelers. There are big backs. Chuck Noll playing possession football this year. The only thing that's not terribly predictable about the Steelers this season has been the exceptional play of one Louis Lipp with his great physical skills. Second and 6. Abercrombie. Good hard running, and he's close to another first down. Down near the 27-yard line. Gil Byrd was there defensively for San Diego.
Tell you, when you play against this Steeler team, your linebackers and defensive ends, they have to go in the whirlpool when the game is over because I don't think any team has ever run so many traps. All they do is trap all day long, and it's a physical game when you play the Steelers offensively.
That turnover, the interception by Swain, was the 5th turnover of this football game, and all 4 of the previous turnovers have resulted in touchdowns. You saw how close it was. Third down, less than a yard. Woodley over the top on the sneak. And he has the first down.
Pittsburgh's putting together a terrific drive here. Not only are they moving the ball, but they're keeping the ball away from the San Diego offense.
Troy Woodley is one of the better games he's ever had.
Last week against Denver, he was passed for 283 yards, the exact number that he has up there right now. On first and 10. Woodley batted away and almost back into the hands of Woodley. It'll be second down and 10. It was Big Lee Williams, 6'6". Got some big hands up there and batted it away. I want to remind you, immediately after this game, FC West by 1 game, that the 49ers in great position. They are in charge of their own fate, and they know it. Rams struggling. Second and 10. Todd Spencer for another Steeler first down at the 15-yard line before he's dropped by John Hendy.
Todd did a good job. He found the hole, but he made a real nice move of getting upfield right away. A little shaken up, have to get off the field. But he was a kid that they thought was going to be the heir apparent for that tailback position at USC after Marcus left and moved him from fullback to tailback. He had a decent year, but he brought in a new coach that tried to change the offense a little bit, emphasized throwing the ball a little more than running the ball, and poor Todd didn't get to play too much.
First down and 10. Woodley having a big night for the Steelers. Trying to to get it to the big tight end Cunningham, who had attracted a crowd in the end zone. 3 Chargers. Whitley picked out the right receiver, obviously. They were sticking all over Cunningham.
I couldn't believe he threw that pass. He did have 3 and a 4th defender on the way.
Cunningham said, wow, did I draw a crowd? 2nd down and 10. Fred Robinson, pass rushing specialist, comes in for San Diego, number 90. He'll work up at the top of your screen. Second-year man out of Miami at Ford. He's a good pass rusher. 2nd and 10. Wide open Abercrombie. Mike Green was out there. He got help from Danny Walters. And Abercrombie will lose a yard. It'll be 3rd down and 11. Steelers' offense tonight, I think much of it predicated with their passing to Abercrombie and Pollard on the fact that unable to go tonight is Rich Ehrenberg. He was totally out of action tonight after going through the past 3 weeks or so with a pulled hamstring. He's unable to play tonight, and consequently, we are seeing a lot of passing to Abercrombie and Pollard.
Well, they got Weegee Thompson lined up to the left at the top of your screen. Of course, he's 6'6", and he's the only man over there. There's 3 receivers on the other side, which you don't see on your screen.
That's Lips. Flag is down as Lips is inside the 10. Referee Gary Seaman. Against the Steelers. That's a tough one. Options will be spelled out to the defensive captain. Well, nobody wants to be captain tonight.
I'm sure it's too confusing. They're saying, I don't want to talk to you. Talk to one of the smart guys, an offensive player.
Billy Ray Smith will listen to it, and then he'll look over to Don Coryell, who will get on the headset. They'll phone the governor, and we'll get it worked out.
Look at him. They're checking the sidelines out. What do I do, Coach? Should I take it or shouldn't I?
There's the call.
Pass interference, number 86, offense, penalty decline, 4th down.
Gothard, guilty of pass interference. And I think San Diego just wanted to force him to take the field goal rather than have an opportunity at a 3rd and 15. It would have been 3rd down and 21. That's a strange call, I think. This is tip shot for Gary Anderson. Gary Anderson now is 18 straight. He has kicked 18 consecutive field goals, 29 of 37, having a marvelous year. Bears have the lead for the first time tonight. They trailed by as much as 14 points early in the game. They have struggled. They've hung together. They pulled it together in the 3rd quarter. They've been a different football team. Have not made the mistakes they made in the first half here in the second half, and they lead 44-41. We have 6:37 remaining to be played from San Diego. Gary Anderson to kick off. Deep for the Chargers. Gary Anderson, number 40, and Lionel James, number 26. This will be Lionel James from the 5-yard line. And the little one out to the 25-yard line will be 1st and 10 for San Diego. Gary Anderson, what a marvelous year this kicker is having. 65 points in his last 5 games. I've already told you he's 18 of 18. The NFL record for consecutive field goals held by Mark Mosley at 23. Second best ever was Garo Yepremian. He had 20. So Gary Anderson is getting close to Yepremian. 1st and 10 San Diego. What, of course, is on the Steelers' mind is a victory tonight. Stay alive, and really alive for a playoff spot. Fouts had to hurry that when Lionel James was deep. All kinds of pressure as the Steelers brought Hinkle. They brought Merriweather, and Fouts is slow getting up. Fouts now has 47 300-yard games, an NFL high. Included in those 47 300-yard games, 6 a 300-yard game, 6 400-yard games. Second down and 10. Winslow gets maybe 4 out of that before he's taken from behind by Darrell Sims, a rookie first-round draft pick out of Wisconsin. And you have to admire the comeback of Kellen Winslow, but I think before we really see the Kellen Winslow we knew a year ago when he went down in October and had that reconstruction job on his knee, I think it's going to be probably sometime next year. You admire him for being out there. It was a tough year to pull it all back together again. Third down and 6 for San Diego. Pump fake. Then he finds Lionel James. He's hit by Donnie Shell, but he had first down yardage, I believe. Oh, I don't believe that mark. They're going to mark it up over the 35-yard line, and it'll be first down San Diego. In case you joined us late, this game is seesawed back and forth. There was a point in the first half when the Steelers were down by 14. They made a lot of mistakes in the early going. They corrected all of that at halftime. They roared back out, but they still are holding on to a precarious 3-point lead. On first down, foul. Joyner. This man is amazing.
He sure is.
To the 29-yard line. He's in his 17th year. He's running around out there like a kid. In this, his 178th consecutive game he's played. Started out at Houston. He went to Cincinnati, and he's done most of the damage right here in San Diego. And Fout on the blitz was given time to get it off. There he is, wide open. Looks for the block, and he gets it down the sidelines, and he knew just how far to go, how far to stretch it before he stepped out of bounds. And he picks up the first down at the 29-yard line of the Steelers. 6 receptions for Joyner tonight. Another 100-yard game for him. He's had so many. Joyner not only is the all-time leading receiver, but he's only about 250 yards behind Don Maynard for the all-time yardage for a receiver. On first and 10. Foul. Gary Anderson. Anderson splits a pair of defenders. He picks up 7.
One thing you got to like about Gary Anderson, when he sees that there's very little chance of him getting away, he will accelerate and get as much out of it as any back I've ever seen. I mean, on a play like that, he ended up picking up 3 yards that most backs would have tried to elude one of the defenders and been tackled not going forward.
Does it with a move, too, O.J., characteristic of the play of Marcus Allen and Tony Dorsett. He gets down very low and slices. Foul. Chandler. And Chandler is inside the 10 to the 8-yard line. It'll be first down, goal to go. What a beautiful catch, a beautiful pass, and a beautiful pattern. Chandler's going to run a slant pattern. Now he'll break to his left and reverse pivot and go back to the sideline. Beautiful pattern and a well-thrown ball. Boy, and as we look down, you saw the master shot. It is so typical of San Diego. Every receiver under offensive coordinator Ernie Zampese's offense is a live receiver, and Dan Fout plays those receivers like a piano. You never see one loafing. You never see one giving up, because they never know when Dan's going to check off to him. Looks downfield and comes back. Goes to Gary Anderson. He's to the 5-yard line. It'll be second down, goal to go. Defensively, the play was made by John Swain.
Gain of 3 yards.
It's got to be
the point where you wonder if it would be questionable for them to score early and turn the ball back over to the Steelers.
I tell you, when they come out, I would hate to have to play defense against this San Diego team. You don't know who to concentrate on.
Second down, goal to go. That's the time remaining in the game. Buford McGee. Keith Willis hit him first.
Buford McGee.
McGee sprawls down close to the 3-yard line.
That's the same play that McGee scored on earlier. You'll see Gary Anderson trailing behind him. Obviously, I assume he has the option to pitch or keep the ball.
And for the Pittsburgh Steelers, with the seconds ticking away, they could be looking at the final few seconds of a possible playoff season. They will not be mathematically dead if they lose, but they will be in deep trouble. Dan Fouts was running out of time. He only had 4 seconds on his 30-second clock, so he did not want the 5-yard penalty. He uses a timeout. We'll be back in a moment.
Rams battle the San Francisco 49ers for first place in the NFC West. Live at 9 Eastern tomorrow.
That 49er defense has been playing great. It's going to be quite a test for the Rams tomorrow night. We'll be bringing you all the action from San Francisco. Meanwhile, we've got a lot of it right here. Steelers leading the Chargers 44-41. We have 2:38 remaining in the game. It's third down, goal to go for the Chargers. They're inside the 3-yard line. Winslow in motion. The option play. It was McGee to Anderson, touchdown, and the Steelers go back out on top. Wild football game. And if the Steelers can come back and put a touchdown on the scoreboard, we will have exceeded the most points that have ever been scored on Monday Night Football. Let's watch it again. It's been effective already tonight for a touchdown. It has worked in previous games for 2 touchdowns. It's just the old option play. Instead of the quarterback handling the ball, is Buford McGee. Bob Thomas for the conversion. They are going to miss another conversion. Majenko is holding the ball. He had a problem. The flag is down, however. They had a bad snap earlier. Actually, it wasn't a bad snap. It was a bad hold by Majenko. And they missed an extra point that was haunting them throughout the game. Here's referee Jerry Seaman.
Holding number 80. Offense. Penalty decline.
Oh, boy. Winslow was holding. And now, that sets up the possibility of a tying field goal by the Steelers. And they have, as we have said all night, the hottest field goal kicker in football today, Gary Anderson, who is the all-time leader in percentage of active players. That's twice. Majenko has blown it. The snap was good. No question about that. Dennis McKnight is the center, and Majenko just didn't get it down.
Yeah, it could be overtime. Watch the Raiders and Denver play a super overtime game today. I'm told that's the first time 2 teams have played 2 overtime games against one another in the same year. Twice they played. Twice it's been on overtime.
Hey, what I want to know is why is Majenko the holder? Why wouldn't they have their backup quarterback Mark Herman holding the football? He obviously had better hands.
You wait till next week.
Yeah, we're going to swap holders next week. I can't understand it why they would not have.
There will be a new holder.
Mark Herman holding the football. In that last case, when he did fumble it and he got up to run, at least Herman, had he done it, he'd had a chance to throw the ball. Majenko couldn't even pass the ball. He tripped and fell.
Majenko to kick off. Spencer and Lips. A lot of times you see the other kicker, other than the punter, as the holder because they have an opportunity to work during the practice session. Here comes Willie Lips. Out over the 20 to the 23-yard line. The Steelers' offensive unit comes racing onto the field, headed by center Mike Webster. 2:25 remaining. This telecast is presented by the authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the National Football League is prohibited.
You know, I disagree with that thing about having the time to work doing practice. When it comes to the importance of winning and losing football games, you use your best athletes. You find the time for that holder to work with the kicker.
First and 10, the Steelers. They have a long way to go. Whitley with a lot of time. It's picked off by Jeff Dale. way back. Stadium has gone bananas. And the Steelers have gone south. Maybe. A new NFL record for points. 95. 3 years ago, Washington, Green Bay. 97 tonight. On a night that the San Diego defense would bend and bend and bend and always come back with the turnover, with the big play. A Monday Night Football record. It's a Monday Night Football record for points, not an NFL record, of course. 97 points. It's just been a seesaw type of game. Majenko got it down, got it upright. Thomas split the upright. 98 points. And 2 minutes and 9 seconds remaining. The ball was poorly thrown, Joe.
Poorly thrown. The coverage was there. He was just trying to get too much too soon. Or else David thought his receiver would do something that he didn't do. Maybe he thought he was going to break underneath. I don't know. But it was a poorly thrown ball.
Another Monday Night Football record went by the boards as we watched the touchdown scamper of Jeff Dale. The most points scored by a team. Broke the record of 50. Chargers now have 54 up there. Tough to lose a game and you score 44, isn't it?
Oh, boy.
Now, especially Pittsburgh. You look at San Diego, they've been in some games like this, but Pittsburgh, a team that has relied on his defense over the years, that would be a tough pill to swallow.
I wonder what Mean Joe Green and Elsie Greenwood and Mel Blunt and the fellas are thinking today. Look at up there, Jack Lambert. Our team is giving up 54 points.
Mel Blunt. And this is the #1 defensive team in the AFC through 13 games. Louis Lips. Chargers are all fired up now. Lips has dropped inside the 15. Gary Nelson hustling down there for the Chargers. And the 2-minute warning is sounded. This crowd, most of them on their feet. They're not going to the playoffs. They played well tonight. In case you just got around to joining us, that indeed has happened tonight. It's been a wild football game for the Steelers, even though they are not mathematically eliminated from the race in the AFC Central Division. They are not even thinking in terms of wild card, as they, in all probability, are going to go 6-8, even though the way things have happened tonight, we could see some more Steeler points on the scoreboard. But it has been wild. Wes Chandler, 5 receptions, 154 yards, 2 touchdowns from Dan Fouts. 54 ties the most points that has ever been scored against the Steelers. That was by the Green Bay Packers back in 1941. 2 minutes remain to be played. Steelers from the 15-yard line. Whitney. Stallworth incomplete. Chargers really fired up. They have been so maligned, particularly their defensive unit. Well, totally their defensive unit. There's no question about their offense. #1 in the NFL as it has been for the past 3 or 4 years. But the defensive unit, the bottom of the league into the night. Jeff Dale, the interception of Woodley and the return has put the Chargers on top, 54-44. Second down and 10. Woodley, oh man, picked off again. A violent collision. This is John Hendy. Hendy takes it back inside the 10 as Stallworth is very slow and very rocky getting up. And now Stallworth is back down. John Hendy had 2 interceptions a week ago. One he returned 75 yards for a touchdown against Buffalo. took this one back to the 9-yard line. And the concern now is for John Stallworth. He got to his feet, and then he seemed to collapse.
This is when it's really tough on a defender, on a receiver, too. The defender wasn't even going for the ball. He just intended to separate John from the ball, had the ball gotten there, but it never did. And boy, that's an awful lick for John to have to take.
He really did take a shot. Woodley rifles it in there. Way over the outstretched arm. That was Stallworth getting the hit. I believe it was Jeff Dale who made the contact. And a good return by John Hendy. Stallworth appears to be all right. Walking off unassisted. San Diego has it back. The 9-yard line. First down, goal to go.
2098. Chargers will be right
John Stallworth in his 12th year, the all-time leading receiver for the Steelers.
Eagles. Game time 1 o'clock. And the first 50,000.
Over 450 receptions, leader in yardage.
Just wondering how San Diego's going to play this time. Do you think they dare try and throw the football at all?
They can't do much else.
Oh, they can run it. They have to try and just run it. A 10-point lead right now. All Pittsburgh can do is call a couple of timeouts. One timeout is what they have left. I hope they don't throw the football.
Chargers bring it up. Spencer carries it to the 1. Maybe they better throw it.
Hey, when you can run that good, keep it on the ground more often.
Don Coryell, he's been under fire. The owner, Alex Santos, has said that he will review the situation after the season is over. For Chuck Noll, this is a very bitter defeat. His team will go to 6-8 for all intent and purposes, out of the hunt for an AFC Central Division championship. Buford McGee held out of the end zone.
Buford McGee, the ball carrier.
It'll be third down and goal to go.
If I was San Diego, I think I'd petition the commissioner and try to get into the Central Division. 2 years in a row, they could beat everybody except the teams in their conference.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah, that'd be good. San Diego in the Central Division. That's better than Baltimore Colts at one time in the NFL. We're in the Western Division of the NFL.
Cleveland Browns moved around. Third down, goal to go. Chargers are saying touchdown.
And off to Tim Spencer.
As Tim Spencer appears to be held out of the end zone. And the Chargers can let the final seconds tick off now. There's a flag down, however. It has not gone well for the Steelers. Offside.
Well, again, I mentioned the injury aspect earlier, and I think a lot of these teams in the NFL are not playing up to their capabilities.
Offside. Defense lined up in the neutral zone. Still third down.
Or at least the quality of football that they'd be playing if they had the other 4 men on the roster that they took off this year.
16 seconds remaining in the game.
Now, this will be interesting to see if he falls on the ball or if they try to score.
Got to give it to one of the big boys in the backfield. Let him get sick.
I don't think so. You think so?
Yep.
All right. Go ahead, Pittsburgh.
There are no upraised arms of the officials now. There it is. No.
Memories of the field
Pittsburgh kept out once again. It'll be fourth down. And now the Chargers will let the final seconds tick off. And a tough loss for the Steelers. They're still alive mathematically in the AFC Central Division. But a lot of strange things would have to happen before they can win it. Chargers, of course, were out of it coming into tonight. But a major victory. A lot of festivities here tonight in Anaheim.